Hello! Oh, good. I'm small tonight. Hi, guys. Hi, Cooney. Congratulations on being ripe for 7 times. Good job. Hi, Ridley. Oh my goodness. Thank you for the sub. I appreciate you. You think you made my sub alert things not work? Wait, why? It's supposed to be on my starting soon screen, but it doesn't make any noise because I'm not to that point yet where I get to play around with the audio stuff on the back end. But I'm gonna fix that if you mean because you couldn't hear anything. Yeah, I'm a PNG tuber today. Because we're doing art, and I'm literally not gonna be moving a lot, because art. So, you know, also there's another reason. You saw the pop-up, and it looked new, but didn't hear anything. Yeah, there's no sound on my starting soon screen, because I'm still, like, setting stuff up. I have to split my audios, but I'm, like, afraid of doing it, because I know when, Pixie split up his audios at one point, it, like, fricked everything, and then, like, a bunch of sounds were out of sync. So I'm, like, scared to do it, but... Oh my goodness! Thank you for the prime! It takes 2 subs to get a hype train? This is silly. But thank you. Hi, Ben. Hi, Belle. Welcome in. Thank you guys for doing your redeems. But yeah, I'm small. I'm small. I like it. So yeah, we are doing Artstrem. It is finally time. Also, if you like this PNG tuber, I made it using the Pick Crew by Tsuru Draws. It's very cute, very mindful, very demure. We love it. I did have to make it talk though, which is really easy to do. I bet there's tutorials out there for how to make your reactives talk. Pixie, again, this man is a genie. He showed me how to do it. It's pretty simple. Maybe I'll make a little tutorial on it someday. But yeah, I love it. It's so cute. The one thing that I wish could be different, because like it's pretty spot on. Like this PNG tuber's pretty spot on. It's not custom at all. You guys can literally go make one. Hi, Candyman. The thing that's like super not spot on is I wish there wasn't bows on the buns. I want to get rid of those bows on the buns. But other than that, I really like it. I like it a lot. Okay, so besides the PNG tuber, cute AF. Oh my goodness, thanks. There's some other that's cool creative things. I'm excited because I've been trying to do this art stream for weeks, and every time it's like on a Thursday, and then for some reason Thursday is like the cursed day of the week for me because I get sick and I can't stream and I can't. It's been cray-cray. So I hope you guys have been having a good day. But I finally was able to get it together, man. And now we're gonna have an art stream. So how'd that sound? Hope that sounds good to you. Let's go over here. Wow. Art stream window. You've had 2 low-paid days in a row? Let's go! I love that for you, Candyman. Hi, Snooky! Yo, I'm awake late enough to catch lemon! How late is it for you? It's 6 p.m. for me. How you doing, Snooky? I feel like a long time no see, although you've been up to cool things. I've seen it on the Twitter. Midnight! Oh my goodness. Well, good night. Sleep tight. Sleep tight. I'm tucking you in right now. But yeah, this is my art stream screen where I recently made it cool. This is for anyone who hasn't seen it yet, this is my new streaming setup. So I'm living in the boxes, you know? I'm living out of boxes, I should say. I'm packing. Not like that. Listen. I am prepared. Yo. I moved to a new stream setup, but it's not official. This is my non-canon arc. So I'm a cat and I have boxes. It makes sense. Hi, something. Yeah, I pack the way I want. You don't judge. Perfect. We love it. But yeah, and then I can bring back my memo pad for my arts, and crafts. But also, I set up a version of this PNG tuber with a little drawing pad. We're art stream canon right now. I love it. You heard it here first, Lim Packing! That's literally the only thing you guys are gonna retain from this entire stream tonight, huh? Oh my goodness. The other thing I wish I could do with this PNG tuber is make like my pen move on the art pad like I'm actually drawing, but I can't do that. I'm not fancy enough. It's beyond my capabilities as a little guy, okay? But I like it. I'm excited. I'm also excited that this one had a sprig that actually looks like mine, because usually they have like the generic leaf sprig where the leaves are kind of horizontal. This one had the vertical leaves, you know? It was pretty on point. Alt account intensify! Okay, well. Okay, the other really cool thing that we have going on today is that the last time I attempted an art stream, which wasn't terrible, I forget what I was drawing. What the frick was I making? Oh, my Kaku outfit. The last time I attempted an art stream of this caliber, like I got really focus mode, and there was like nothing going on, which is like the brand of art streams, you know, like we get it. So I have a plan for this one for, you know, I've prepared a little bit of side entertainment. Usually a lot of the art streamers that I've watched, they either have like a video playing somewhere else on their screen or they have like really cool, nice, chill music, yada, yada, yada. I don't want to do that, okay? because I am a stickler for the rules and I cannot bring myself to play copyrighted things on this channel except for like every once in a while, special occasion. So Subway Surfer on the side. I've actually, one of my other ideas was to just like play old VODs or something, like just reuse my old content. But that's like boring for me because I don't want to just sit here and like, it might be interesting for you guys, but that's boring for me. So, this stream and ones of this nature in the future is also semi-brought to you by Project Geekology. I have gotten permission to play their podcasts on my stream. So, yeah. We're gonna listen to podcasts while we co-work. So if you guys got little art projects or my fellow streamer buddies have things to work on the back end, yeah, I'm gonna have some ear-turntainment for us. Also, yes, Ridley, I can get rid of your little shout out thing. I could change it if you want. You can just DM me and I'll put it to something different. But yeah, I'll make that stop happening. I think I can do that right now, actually, so I don't forget. But yeah, hold on, I'm pinning something. Check out Project Geekology. This podcast is also run by someone who has a founder badge on my channel. So it's special. Literally just delete every bit of the text after sworn. Oh, okay. Okay, I can do that. So, this is the website for what we'll be listening to. I want to listen to episode 28. I already went through and I kind of like picked some stuff out. But let me just humor me for 2 seconds because I have the memory of a goldfish while I'm streaming. And I need to get rid of the non-applicable parts of Ridley's shout out. This is very important. Ridley was the top donator during our charity stream. You guys can sit for 2 seconds while I appease a VIP of the channel, okay? I say while no one's complaining. So yeah, let me just do that. Okay, save, and then let's just test this again. Let's just shout this man out again. Oh, nope, it said it for me. I forgot that happens when I test it, but it's fine. It works now. There you go. I fixed that for you. And now it'll say your name, Ridley, not mine, when you join in the future. Thanks. You're welcome. You're welky swelky. Okay, maybe a couple of other things before I play the podcast, because like I have a little bit more yapping to do, just because I like to do the prologue, the stream prologue, if you will. So, tonight I'm going to be trying to create this outfit in VRoid Studio. And I have mapped out what I want to do. This is the plan. And tonight I think I'm just going to be making templates. And then I might have to finish the outfit on Monday because I need to give it to the recipient on October 1st. I might have to beg and plead and cry to the recipient to give me more time. But yeah, because I haven't had a lot of time. It's been rough. Basically, every time I had to cancel art stream was another day I didn't get to work on this. So, you know, that's great and cool and wonderful. But yeah, so this is the plan. So I'm gonna be trying to make Venti. And we are gonna listen to the podcast episode for Lord of the Rings. So let me set some things up, and then we're just gonna be chilling, my dudes. We're just gonna be chilling. It's gonna be great. A great grand old time. So let me know if you can't hear the podcast too well. I might be yipping and yapping over it if I like want to say things. So, you know, we'll just take it, you know, as it comes and just have a good little time, I think. And we'll just be like co-working. So if anyone is working on things, you've come to the right place. So yeah. Again, this is Project Ecology, episode 28, with permission.
In the land of Mordor, in the fires of Mount Doom, there, two podcasters named Anthony and Dakota forged a master podcast.
And let me know if you can't hear it. It sounds pretty alright to me.
They poured their knowledge and geekiness into amazing discussion.
Alright, well, I am officially cringing. I hope you are too, fellow listener. My name is Dakota, and I'm joined with...
Anthony. That was not me.
That was Gandalf. Gandalf was the one, specifically from the...
It is Pixie. This outfit I'm making is for Pixie, yeah.
Anthony, you want to explain...
Pixie won my giveaway.
The connection to the introduction of Lord of the Rings and the Battle for Middle-earth?
Oh, yeah. So, the Battle for Middle-earth is this real-time strategy PC game from way back, like 2004, 2005. And in the intro of that, Gandalf pretty much reiterates what Galadriel says in the beginning of the Fellowship of the Ring.
You're getting sleepy? Sorry you can't stay? Yeah, go to sleep, Snowcake. Good night!
Right.
Because I like Gandalf a lot.
Oh my god.
Cool, but
hello! I'm pausing my podcast. Welcome in! Hi, Dracmutt. Welcome in. Howdy, howdy, howdy. How it going? We're doing an art stream. You were playing Din's Champion. I don't know what that is. It sounds interesting, though. Thank you for the raid. Thank you for bringing the community, sharing your community with me. I am xCheekyLemonx. I occasionally do art streams. Tonight is one of those nights. We are co-working, so if you're chilling, this is a good place to do it. If you're raiding and running, this is also a good place to do it. Nice, nice. Din's Champion is a neat little Terraria, Jason. Oh, and it came out today. Ooh, is it pixel art by any chance? If it's pixel art, then I must play Din's Champion. What does this look like? Oh my goodness, this is beautiful! You weren't kidding! Terraria adjacent for sure. Wow. It's a mix of pixels and some 3D models. Yeah, I like it. It looks really good. Did you enjoy it? What would you say? Give it a rating. Worth playing or nah? Save 10%? Did you like it? I'm intrigued. I'm definitely intrigued. Okay, we are also listening to podcasts episodes by Geekology, Project Geekology. We're listening to Lord of the Rings podcasts. It was a lot of fun, though very janky. So if you're not into jank, it might not hit. Oh, that is a thing. You nailed it, man. Like I suffer from my art, but not for other people's art. I don't like the jank. So maybe I'll just check out your VOD. You keep the VODs up, right? I'll see it on your VOD. I'll see what it looked like. But yeah, welcome in, Raiders. And have a good rest of your evening if you're headed out. I appreciate you. I'm playing my podcast.
Gee.
And it was voiced by Ian. Like it was.
You do keep the VODs? Oh, perfect.
Yeah, like I think he's voiced most Gandalfs in like the video games.
That's pretty cool. I didn't know that. I don't remember if I played Battle for Middle-earth actually. But today we are not talking about Battle for Middle-earth. We're talking about The Fellowship of the Ring, the first film in Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings trilogy. And I have severe love for this trilogy. Like it's a problem how much I adore all of these films. This, Anthony, I think is our Star Wars. You know, like the generation before us had the Star Wars films that came out in the late 70s and early 80s.
Right.
Its
When
biggest
we were
plus
kids,
is it's
when we
got
were
like
turning,
15 plus starting classes.
11,
That's
12,
cool.
That's when the Lord of the Rings came out, and that's kind of what
We like choice.
What we built our geek lives around, or at least that's how I've kind of viewed pop culture. That's how I've gauged pop culture ever since. So I think that for me was my Star Wars moment, is the Lord of the Rings film. So I'm excited to finally get to talk about it on this podcast.
Yeah, I would say that like as a kid, they were like my favorites. They're like way up there. Yeah, like, and it's crazy watching through it again, and it's that trilogy that like I revisit every year, and for me it still holds up. Like it's still
Ridley,
looks
is it
fantastic.
Yeah.
working? Are
What's
you
crazy
making
is
it
that
work?
There's so many little details in the Lord of the Rings trilogy and the extended editions, even in the theatrical editions, that when you finally when you get to a certain age, it's almost like you're unlocking
I hope I'm so smart
new
tonight because
insights
I'm
into
literally
certain
just
characters
building
and why they're
things,
doing certain things, or
you know, that I've never made
you're
before.
noticing
So
details in the background or in the lore
We'll see.
or world building that you wouldn't have necessarily cared about in previous viewings. It's a movie that has so many layers. And I call the Lord of the Rings a movie because all three films were
you made
filmed
a
at the
feature
same
like 8
time.
months ago, and you're using it
And
again
that's
now,
kind of a
thinking,
feat
man,
that
I
really
wish this
hasn't
feature
ever been
did this, and I
replicated to
realized
that
I
extent in Hollywood
did
ever
think of that
since.
already,
Even, like, the
and it's already done.
Avengers,
Oh my goodness, past you
films,
really do be loving future you right
Infinity
now.
War and Endgame were filmed
Or the
back
other
to
way
back,
around.
but they're not at the level of
Love that for you.
cinematography and epicness, at least not on a fantasy scale or a length scale, as Lord of the Rings is.
Right.
That being said, I think we're gonna have to break the Fellowship of the Ring and the Two Towers.
It's always
and
great when something can be
Return of the King
reused.
into
Yeah.
two separate videos because they're just so
Work
long.
smarter, not
So if we're
harder.
ever going to get into the nitty gritty of each of the details that we actually want to talk about, we're gonna have to break it up. And what better place to break it up than on or around the place where the Blu-rays or the DVDs break up the halfway point of the films. So we're gonna do disc one
Ooh.
ish of the Fellowship of the Ring.
Yeah, I agree, and I'm pretty sure that there's a couple of things that we've gone over where that we could have broken them up, but there's so much going on in Lord of the Rings that doing each of the movies in one episode I think we'll miss a little bit too much.
Yeah, I mean, even we don't have to go like scene by scene like sometimes we do, but
Right.
we would definitely miss a lot if we were trying to squeeze in every little detail into one podcast. So we're gonna have to split this up between 2 different weeks. So this week we'll do disc 1 of Fellowship, and then are you good to do disc 2 of Fellowship next
We
week,
will be
man?
listening to
Yes,
multiple
we can do
episodes
that.
because my stream is going to be that long.
Do
So
that. So before we begin, Anthony, what have you been up to this past week?
Well, since the last time we released an episode, or the last time we recorded, I'd been doing a lot. I had been playing some VR. I started
Ooh.
Konosuba, the anime.
Oh, I love Konosuba.
Yeah, man, it's hilarious.
Yeah.
Absolutely hilarious. Like it's got this fantasy action to it, but I think it's like 80% comedy and like 20% action.
Yeah, there's so many like animes that take place in like
Video game fantasy.
I
video game
ran.
fantasy
Welcome
world,
in.
like
Yeah.
setting, but so few get it right. And Konosuba is like it finds its niche really well. So I do appreciate that one.
I don't
What
understand
VR
why the
games have you been playing? You
shorts
said you were
are
playing
like
VR.
have this
Beat Saber. Beat Saber is
Audi
really
butt
fun.
crack.
Another one
Like,
called
what is
Population
that?
1. It's
Don't know why it's
a
doing that.
battle royale one, which is really like trippy, like playing a battle royale in
It's
VR
fine.
because you're like turning around and like you're trying to scope people down. It's crazy. Another one that I played that I thought was really cool, and it's separated into 3 episodes, and it's called Vader Immortal. And I played the first one of that, and Vader Immortal is so cool, especially like you
I
get into
ran.
those like moments where you get the lightsaber and you're actually like using the lightsaber. Oh my gosh, man!
And
So
I
cool.
hear from, I've done a little bit of research on it. I don't know what the actual story is, but I've heard that it's a canon story in the Star Wars universe.
Oh, is it now?
I don't know how much it actually affects canon or anything, but it's supposed to be like a story that actually happens in Vader's timeline somewhere.
It's really cool. There's some really awesome visuals in it, and using the lightsaber is it's like really cool.
So I'm building a Star Wars timeline slowly. I know that there are plenty of Star Wars timelines out there. And I've done one for the High Republic, but I want to kind of slowly expand that to be a full Star Wars canon timeline, which is just such a daunting task. So I'm gonna need your help on Vader Immortal because I don't have a VR set. Like what happens in it.
Technically, Venti has puffy sleeves, but I can't do it because they'll conflict with the jacket, which is not.
It's really
not
cool.
great.
I enjoyed it a lot. They had this big sale on all of the Star Wars games. So for like $60, there's this pinball one that you get in it. All 3 Vader Immortals, Tales from the Borderlands, Tales from Galaxy's Edge. I've had the Galaxy's Edge one for a while, and I had episode 1 of Vader Immortal. I just finally got to it. So since I had those other 2 games, I got that sale discounted. But the pinball one's pretty fun because you actually you have this room. It's a Star Wars themed room. There's this pinball machine that you walk up to. And it's like playing an actual pinball machine. You hit the flippers, and you see it bouncing around on the field.
I forgot that Pixie's model is so white that you can't tell he's wearing tights right now.
That's pretty cool. They actually just came out with a big new pinball machine, like in real life, not in VR. That is Mandalorian themed. So if I ever see that in the wild, I'll go play a game or 2.
I wonder if the pin because
Candyman. There are tights. You can see. I think there's a seam. This might not be a seam.
They may have.
There are tights on this model. I swear.
As like a segue to get people into playing actual pinball.
This model is wearing tights. They're just.
Man, so I've been having fun with that.
Blending into the skin. I might change them to be just like white. The suggestion of tights. Yes.
Did you finish Fellowship in one sit down, or did you break it up a little bit, or what did you do?
No, I broke it up a little bit. Fellowship for me is a little slow, especially in the beginning. I love all 3 of the films, but
Genshin, Lord of the Rings, kind of similar. Not
my
really, but
are definitely
we're gonna go with
Two
it.
Towers and Return of the King.
I also broke it up, not because it was necessarily slow. It's just I only have so many hours to sit down and watch something in a given day.
Right, right. There's that too.
Being an adult is hard, but we make sacrifices. Some of those sacrifices involve cutting Lord of the Rings up into multiple parts, like this podcast. Yeah, I don't necessarily agree with you on that it's boring. Or no, you didn't say it's boring. You said it's a little bit slow, and it is a little bit slow.
Somehow you're sure a video essay exists of someone trying to connect the two? Maybe.
Everything that happens in the Shire,
I wouldn't be surprised.
On the way to Rivendell sets up who the characters are, who the main
okay,
are,
the question today is, can I be smart?
Moment or section of
can I be really smart with how I'm doing
this? The
this?
rest of it hangs on the shoulders of that moment, So, and I feel that way about most of Fellowship, but we'll get into that in a little bit.
So yeah, that's what I've been up to. What about you? What have you been doing?
Well, I told you a little bit, or I was saying a little bit that I was working on a Star Wars timeline, and because of that, I've been going through some of the novels that I haven't read, on Audible while I'm working, and I listened to 2.5 so far since I last spoke about Dr. Aphra, I think. Yeah, so I listened to Queen's Peril by E.K. Johnston.
Oh yeah, I went through that one.
And then I went to Queen's Shadow. So Queen's Shadow is actually the first one in that series, where it's like the middle book in the trilogy.
That's the one that I went through, Queen's Shadow.
Okay, yeah. It takes place when, like, 4 years after the Phantom Menace, and Queen Amidala is like stepping down as queen so that the next elected queen can like take her place, and she starts becoming a senator in the Galactic Republic, and it's pretty cool. I mean, it's not like a super exciting Star Wars story, but it does fill in the gaps of that character a lot. And,
it's a lot more political.
It is, but you know, reading that book and also reading the Queen's Peril, which takes place in the first couple months of Padme's queenship on Naboo, I have a lot more respect for the character. Not that I ever like disrespected or didn't have respect for Padme, because she's always been an awesome.
Oh, maybe I didn't
Star Wars character.
Make socks like I thought I did.
Like the books just flesh out her character and her motives and like what drives.
Maybe he's
her
not wearing
to
socks.
keep doing.
False alarm, guys.
Really
There's no socks in this
that.
model.
I love stuff like that. Both books are written by E.K.
That is
Johnston.
his skin.
There's going to be a third one coming out in November called Queen's Hope, that takes place during the Clone Wars. So it's kind of like broken up like the Star Wars trilogies, where the middle one came out first, then the prequel, and then the sequel. So it's kind of a weird format for like a novel series to take. I would recommend reading Queen's Peril before reading the first book, Queen's Shadow. That's just my recommendation. I got more out of the beginning of Queen's Shadow because I knew the characters better from Queen's Peril. So I'm going to stop rambling about that. I also started listening to Claudia Gray's Leia, Princess of Alderaan. It's a young adult novel about Leia as a 16-year-old learning about how her parents are in the rebellion and like wanting to do war. So it's like her origin story a little bit, and I'm excited to get more on that, but I'm only like a quarter of the way into it maybe, but I like it so far.
Good old Bail Organa.
Bail Organa and Bria Organa. Yeah, I actually really have grown to like Bail Organa just from Queen's Shadow and also this book, because it kind of carries along. He befriends Padme in Queen's Shadow as a senator.
Yeah.
And this novel kind of is closer to like the original trilogy, and it kind of goes to show like how he's evolved in his political career. So that's pretty cool.
I also like the actor that plays him in the movies too.
Yeah, he's
Jimmy
got like such
Smits.
he's got such a like a kind face, you know?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
He just looks like someone you can trust, and I appreciate that.
Right. Like he played that character well, and it made sense why he was entrusted with Leia, like why he was the one. The book really elaborates more on that and that friendship and why he was so entrusted, like his family.
Yeah. So I definitely the Padme books I say that we both recommend.
Yes.
And so far the Leia book I recommend as well, just because it's Claudia Gray. She's my favorite Star Wars writer currently, and she's knocking this one out of the park too. So
yeah, she's good. She's really good.
Yeah, she's awesome. But other than that, you know, just watching random things here and there. Nothing really to write home about. Oh, Bad Batch, actually. Yeah, that's been like the biggest thing so far. And more Star Wars. So it's gonna be a Star Wars summer. I have a feeling.
You don't even have to ask me, because you already know how I feel about Clone Wars, and this is like that. This is a blend between that and you know, the rebellion age.
Yeah,
the age of rebellion.
I notice that the storytelling feels more like Star Wars Rebels, the way that they approach their storytelling and like the narrative structure of the show. But the fact that it takes place so close to the Clone Wars and actually with clones is just such a great bridge between the Clone Wars and Rebels. So I think, especially as this is the first real animated show that's like fresh for Disney Plus, this is gonna be a big show, and I hope it's gonna do well.
Right. And the way, oh my goodness, man, and the way that first episode began, oh man, it was scratching an itch that hadn't been scratched in a while.
Yeah, the way it started with the Clone Wars opening.
Yeah, it was really good. So we'll have to cover more of these animated shows in some future episodes.
Yeah, I would love to do like a Clone Wars
It's
season by season
working!
breakdown.
It's working!
But for the time being, let's get into our topic of the day, the first half of The Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Ring.
Yes, let's go from a galaxy far, far away to a land far, far away.
I was there 3,000 years ago.
Okay,
in the year 3434 of the Second Age. A last alliance of men and elves. So I love the way that the Lord of the Rings
I like the
opens,
way
especially
you
in the
move.
extended cut.
Bam, bam,
It's
bam.
just because for people who didn't read the Lord of the Rings, there's a lot that you need to know. There's a lot that you missed from the Hobbit book. There's a lot that you don't know about the world itself. And they spend literally the first 8.5 minutes just dumping information on you, you know?
Yeah.
But it's not boring. It's super cool, and it's just like the foundation of the story.
I feel like in that 8 minutes, they really do set up that world in a way that it's easy to understand.
Oh yeah, because
Because I feel like even as a kid, there's a lot that I did understand. Sure, I might have not understood everything, but there's still a lot that I did understand, and it just, the older I got, that knowledge refined itself.
you mean like of the lore of the world that they were trying to build?
Right.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, it's kind of hard. Well, as kids and first time viewers, second time viewers, like understanding the depth of lore that Tolkien, or it's actually pronounced Tolkien, wrote over the course of his life for what he called the Legendarium, or the Lord of the Rings world, Middle Earth and stuff. But there's so much there, and even and I think the reason I love the Lord of the Rings trilogy as much as I do, besides the fact that they're great films, is that there was such care taken.
Nobody says anything.
Funny.
Presenting the lore in a way that was honest. It didn't hide anything
Through
from
my
you.
body to hear your
Like,
farts.
there's things that they don't explain but are just
Cut it out in
existent
post.
in the world.
No.
Yeah.
Like, they never explain why Legolas can just walk on snow while the rest of them are trudging through it while they're climbing up the mountain.
I don't know, guys.
But
I feel
it's
like the
there.
people are like,
It's
well,
kind of weird,
actually,
but
it's pronounced like,
cool,
I'm just
They
like,
never
I don't
explain
care.
later on in the film, I'm jumping over to this
Whatever.
point, why the
Well,
the
actually,
elvish
it's
cloaks
pronounced
that they give
Tolkien.
don't get wet when
Okay.
Frodo and Sam are in the water, and they come out of the water and
Okay.
they're all dry, but the rest of them is soaking wet. It's a weird little fun fact that you notice upon like future viewings, and they never explain it. It's just the magic of Lord of the Rings.
It's part of the magic, and then like it's funny, and then what would you do if like behind the scenes they really just like had him take it off because they didn't want it to get soaked because it would take too long for it to dry off?
I have no idea what they did behind the scenes, but
Could you imagine like that? It was probably like something so simple, but then they were like, you know what, that could work for us.
Yeah. I'm sure there's so much of that in these movies, but they spent like an astronomical amount of money, and Peter Jackson wasn't a well-known director at the time. The fact that I think they had put so much money into the films at the start that it was too late for New Line Cinema and the other producing companies to back out of Lord of the Rings, and he was just like, we're just gonna do all three at once, and it was just like, all right, just do it.
Too crazy.
Yeah. That's got to be one of the biggest risks that Hollywood ever took, and I'm so happy that they did, because those films hold up
They really
amazingly well. Amazing.
Lord of the Rings is
They
so
really
good.
do. Like every time
10
I
out
come
of 10.
back to it, like it never gets old. It
I know.
never
Agreed.
gets old. I mean, sure, like I said, Fellowship might not be my favorite, but that doesn't mean that I don't like it. I like every time I watch through it, I watch through Fellowship because I still like it that
This is
much.
looking really good so far. Thanks.
Each and every one of these films,
We're
offers
getting
something
there.
that, like, is very like appealing to me, and it's not like, you know how there's like some people that watch through a series that they like, but they always skip over a movie. I never skip over any of them.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
yeah,
such a good
I
point
see what you're
too.
saying. I know some people who like will watch Star Wars and skip over Episode 1 because they presume that it's a useless entry into the series. But I think that's
Cray-cray.
I think that's cray cray. Yeah,
Cray cray.
I do agree with that.
Here,
So-
here at Project Ecology, you heard it first. Dakota said cray cray.
Yeah. What is cray cray is that, you know, you have Galadriel. Oh, so there's so many little details that I noticed on this latest viewing, and I can't touch upon every one of them that I wanted to talk about because we're breaking it into 2 parts. So I'm going to save other revelations later on in the film for our next podcast. But I love the fact that it starts with her whispering in Elvish, and then it's almost like it gets translated into English, you know, or you know, the common tongue, whatever. And that's kind of what happens when she's talking later in the film to like Frodo and them. You know, again, I'm jumping over the second disc, but you know, in the woods of Lothlorien, when she's talking to them, you can kind of hear her whispering in like the back of your head in Elvish, and then in the forefront is like her speaking in, you know, traditional English tongue. So I love stuff like that. It's little details that just like bring the film from a 10 to a 12 for me, you know.
And I love how, you know, I love how that language
that
is
doesn't
just like
work.
straight up made up.
I know.
And it sounds like, it sounds so real.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, how is that even possible?
Well, Tolkien was a linguist. You know, he studied languages. He was he knew language like back and forth. I don't know if he was a polyglot. I don't know if he spoke multiple languages. I'm sure he did.
Polyglot.
But he definitely knew the inner workings of many languages. So he had he wrote and he like crafted multiple languages actually, and you get a couple of them in just the Fellowship of the Ring. You know, we get the Elvish Sindarin, we get the Black Speech of Mordor, we get the Dwarvish runes over the door of Moria later in the movie. So the guy was a genius. Yeah,
it's crazy, and they were able to take it and put it on screen, and it was so natural.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that I mean, we're gonna talk about some of the scenes, but overall the cinematography is just, it's so magical, and it's something that it's almost like when it comes to fantasy anything, I feel like the Lord of the Rings like set a certain like standard, a certain bar that needs to be met for me to be like, man, that thing's good.
And I think what they did so well was, you know, previously before this, fantasy was always a little campier. The wizards and the warriors were always brutish. They were. It's almost just like slapstick. I don't want to say slapstick, but like it was campy. You know, it felt like a game. You know, like a Dungeons and Dragons campaign sort of thing. But with Lord of the Rings, especially this film, they turned it around in a sense, and they created this world and realized it so well that it never feels out of place for itself. You know, even the funny parts work within the world. So,
right. It doesn't take you out of the moment.
No, never, never. So going back to like those first 8 minutes where they're like info dumping and explaining what's happened in the course of the past 3,000 years, basically. We have like the last alliance of men and elves meeting, you know, at the like in front of Mordor, and they're fighting an army of orcs, and then Sauron comes with, you know, this huge mace, and his with the power of the ring, he's just like swinging, and like people are flying about. Dude, when I was a kid, that was like, holy cow. When I read this book, because I read it before seeing Fellowship of the Ring, I was like, I did not expect it to be that epic, you know? So it kind of like blew it out of proportion in my head.
You're like, oh my gosh.
But
what did I get myself into?
The best detail of that fight for me, and I think is one of the most striking scenes in the series in general, is the precision of the elves as the orc army is coming, and they just start like swinging their swords like in like a wave. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, it's so cool.
I know. It's the choreography in these movies. I mean, it really does baffle you when you do realize that it was filmed all together, because you watch these movies and it feels like it took like 10 years to make these movies.
Yeah. I don't know how long it did. I would guess, you know, maybe 2 years of filming. I'm actually gonna look it up. How long did it take?
You know, I'm pretty sure that the planning took a while, and I mean the fact that they had weapons, really, you know, there were real blacksmiths making these weapons. They had leather working done. It's just they put.
I didn't know that. That's so cool.
Because I'm still buying these things.
Okay, so the 3 films.
Ridley, you're done? Oh my goodness. Ridley's done with his work, and I am just starting mine.
1999
Bruh.
December 2000.
What a day.
So
Go get Din 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 groceries. Thanks for stopping by.
So as the films were coming out and they needed more shots, they would bring the cast back to New Zealand to film a couple more shots for each of the films.
Ugh.
The films came out, you know, between 2001 and 2004. So that makes sense. So that's pretty cool. Let's jump forward a little bit. You know, we have Gollum.
Hi, Hershire.
The ring after a sealed
You
door,
disconnected your headphones and tuned into the stream and thought you were playing some absolute
Sauron.
bangers from mid 2000s.
He's influenced by the ring, because there's that moment.
Well, sorry, I'm not your Spotify list.
Him and Elrond are in Mount Doom.
How you doing, Hershire? Later.
Isildur is going to toss the ring, but then
I'm listening to Lord of the Rings podcasts.
Right. So
yeah.
You're hanging in there.
Then see that the ring goes to the most unlikely creature imaginable.
Well,
which was a hobbit.
So is it winter where you are yet? Like the cat on the poster? Oh, dang.
It's just like a heartwarming, like, oh, he's just a little person, you know?
Whoa! See, I know it. I know it. That's why I left there, Hershire. It's been raining all day. Yeah, damn.
Yeah, he was.
It was raining here, but it like wasn't cold. It was just like rainy.
A distant cousin to the Hobbit. I don't know if they still exist.
Damn.
During the Lord of the Rings timeline, or like the era of it all, but
I'm experiencing regret.
Longer than he.
No, I think I'm doing this the right way. I think I'm making the right choice.
Right.
It's definitely not temps you would consider to be warm.
We start to
Agreed.
See, like, Bilbo is writing a novel.
Oh, guys, it's my 10-year high school reunion this weekend.
Referential in a way that, like,
yeah.
Instead of Tolkien writing The Hobbit, it's Bilbo.
Oh yeah, Candyman. The rain was good for the pond.
Well, he had called it.
Ugh, you.
Yes, they're.
Guys, should I tell them I'm a VTuber? Should I tell them at my reunion that I'm a VTuber?
For the book, I think, right? It was like
rain and slight chills for you today, Ren. Ugh.
Like
I think
interchange.
Either that or
your reunion was trash, Hershire. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I had okay. I mean, they were all mean to me, but you know, they apologized to me in the end. So, you know, I liked my teachers.
But we're not going to talk
about
that today.
The book was way better.
Also, there's an ad starting.
Better than the films.
You would
just
never
so
go to
much
reunion,
bloated.
fuck those people? Oh, damn.
Yeah,
Oh,
they
damn.
were bloated because I remember watching the films and I'm just like, dude, what is this? Like, why did
Okay.
Because
What if I crease the
I
sleeve?
really did enjoy The
Crease
Hobbit.
it.
The Hobbit is a good book.
Increase
Yeah, no, it
it.
It's just, yeah, they couldn't recreate.
Okay, now I
the
gotta
magic.
shunk it right to the
So,
body.
Gandalf comes rolling around. There's so many great introductions to all these characters. You know, you're getting little things like the simple life of the hobbits. You know, like what they enjoy doing. How most of them are kind of like unintelligent. And
I
don't
think it's
have many
probably right the way it
aspirations.
is,
And
actually.
then you have Frodo Baggins, who prefers
Maybe like
kind
a
of like the more peace and
little
quiet
longer.
of life, and he's reading a book alone in the woods, and Gandalf strolls by.
Ursha, we all went
singing,
bar hopping, got drunk, and you got into it with your high school bullies, and it was messy.
and
Oh my goodness,
have,
drama!
Bilbo, or
line.
not
You'll
Bilbo,
not be
yeah,
going to the 21. Damn.
An amazing line from this film. You know, we have Frodo coming up.
None of your actual friends went to the 10. Oh. Yeah, I don't know who's gonna show up for mine.
You're late.
A wizard is never late, nor is he early. He simply arrives when he means to.
He means precisely when he arrives precisely when he means to. Yeah.
My goodness.
And I love the relationship
Oh,
that
perfecto.
Gandalf specifically has with the hobbits. Because you can
Actually,
tell
though,
he just has like a deep love for their species. The fact that he just comes every year to bring fireworks to these people who have no other interaction in the world, you know?
Right. That's how it was with Bilbo. I mean, when he, you know, in The Hobbit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they did nothing. They had nothing going on. Bilbo was the only one that went off and did anything.
Right, and Bilbo's time period, you know, 60 years prior to the Lord of the Rings trilogy, Gandalf had been doing that since Bilbo was a kid as well. You know, so Gandalf's just been fascinated by the hobbits for decades.
Are we? Is this where I want to be?
That I like.
Is this
throughout
happening?
The series. And of course, we'll talk
happening?
about when we get to the other films.
Oh yeah,
is how
happening.
The hobbits are respected more and more throughout the series.
We'll have to use our
Especially
imagination.
before.
Yeah.
Most of your friends were like 1 to 3 years ahead of you.
Spoilers.
Films. Yeah, we can talk spoilers.
Class of 09 was actually really shitty, dude.
So, yeah,
you were also
one of
responsible
those
for
last
teachers
scenes
quitting?
in The Lord of the Rings
Damn.
where everyone bows to the hobbits. Oh, I have a poster.
I went to an
artist
incredibly
rendition of
small
that
private
scene,
school,
because it's
so
one of the few scenes that like I always get choked up at.
So wasn't much happening.
I love that moment. I really do. It's when Aragorn tells them that they bow to no one, it speaks volumes.
It's
because
incredible.
Like the worst thing that happened.
I mean,
Well, I did get
in
bullied.
this first film,
But like my calculator
you see
got stolen by one of the foreign
they
exchange
live
students, and that
really
was
with
probably
no
like
care
the
in world. You see the
most dramatic thing.
Each and every single one of them. You know,
Ugh.
Merry, Pippin, Sam, and Frodo. Especially Sam and Frodo.
Do I like the way this
You know,
looks?
they all grow.
No, I totally agree with that.
I don't
totally
know.
agree with that. So let's.
But
let's
we're playing
jump
with
into
it, you know?
Gandalf's
We're
doing
it's
in the Shire this time around. He is there to celebrate with the rest of the Shire.
Is no
because
bad.
Bilbo's celebrating his 111th birthday, and
It's my 111th
yeah, he's
birthday.
lived longer than most, if not all, the hobbits prior to him, and he doesn't look old at all. So he's clearly gained some extended life from the ring, which becomes apparent later, you know.
Right.
And I like the fact that like his distant relatives like will never forgive him for living so long, because they would have inherited his house and fortune that he gained from, you know, his trip to defeat Smaug and stuff.
Oh yes, baby. Oh yes, baby.
There's so much
Oh
to
yes.
like say about
Oh yes,
that party
baby.
scene,
Oh yes.
where, you know, they're celebrating
We
the party,
like
but
it a lot.
Yeah.
part of the mystique and the magic of Gandalf is that you don't
Your
actually
mental state in
know
high
how
school is not
powerful
great,
he
Ren.
is.
It's definitely
Especially
a
in
hard
this first
time. I feel bad for the
Yeah.
kids
You
I
don't-
work
you
with.
don't get a grasp of like what he's capable of, but you know that he's a magical person because he's got the wizard hat, he's got a staff. And he's got fireworks that can like become the shape of dragons and stuff.
Lemon!
I
Oh
love
yeah, that was crazy.
We're listening
I
to
love the simple
your
scene
Lord of the Rings
Bilbo
podcasts.
blowing a smoke ring, which is something that people can physically do. It's a trick that people learn. But Gandalf, he decides to make like a smoke ship to like travel through the ring,
Yeah.
and it just
This
it goes
is
to
your
build
long
on
Lord of the Rings series.
this
Yeah, I know,
layer
because
of
I'm.
fantasy
I wanted
that
something
the show,
long.
the film is trying to present that this is this isn't an ordinary dude. He's something a
What
little
the
bit more,
frick?
and yet he's not using his powers like super showily. Like he's just
Showily.
someone with powers who just happens to like hanging out with hobbits.
Yeah.
So yeah, they start having the party. Are there any scenes in the party that you particularly like or care about?
Well, it's funny that Merry and Pippin, they set off the fireworks, the one with the dragon,
Yeah.
and Gandalf's reaction to it's like absolutely like hilarious. He just like grabs him by the ears.
Mediatic Brandybuck and Peregrine Took. I should have known.
Candyman, you had to deal with the same people bullying you
always-
K
I
through
love
8,
how
then
he
sophomore
always
till you
bags on
dropped
Harry.
out senior year. You would not have a good reaction
Yeah,
seeing them
or
again.
Pippin.
That's
Yeah.
terrible. I hate that for you.
Yeah, Pippin. Yeah, he always like bags on him.
Yeah, we'll get into. I learned some things about Pippin's character this past time watching, but I can't really talk too much about that in this podcast. But next week I'll dive into it because I found something that it like kind of like broke my heart a little bit about Pippin in the way that they did certain scenes. But we'll talk about that next week. But yeah, I like that scene because it introduces the characters in a meaningful way. You understand that these two are like brothers, but they're not.
Yeah.
They're also troublemakers, and Gandalf knows of them because he says, "I should have known." He knows their full names and everything, and
Right.
you can clearly tell that they're just juvenile and delinquents. And we later see them.
Ursha,
stealing
did you go to
crops
high school
from,
with
Farmer Maggot's,
We were wildly
farm, and,
unkind people.
it's
Some of
just-
us got better, some of them did not.
they're running, and yeah, we get to know these characters and their personality type pretty quick. And I
Adi,
think
you had a
the
few
film
weeks
does a
of
good
break
job
during this
of,
series
like,
because you had a bad kid. Oh,
giving
damn.
each character
Adi got
their own little
COVID.
quirk.
COVID.
While Merry and Pippin are very similar, Pippin is the more goofy one. He's the one that
Right.
Oh,
is more
man.
the butt of the joke. But I think by the end of the trilogy,
High school trauma is no
he
joke.
is someone that you feel
It's so rough.
really bad for. He does. They all sacrifice a lot. All four of them.
They really do.
But I think Pippin comes into his own later in the series, and yeah. So
No, he does.
I love.
Okay,
those
how I
much.
do.
Something that we
How I
definitely need
do.
to talk about is the music, man.
I know. It's a good thing you mentioned that because I probably would have forgotten. But I listened to Howard Shore's score like literally.
All your old high
all
school
the time.
bullies were in a bad
Sometimes
way
on
at your
podcast,
10 years, so
sometimes
you
on
had a
editing
fine
videos, I
time
have,
seeing them again.
A playlist of
You gloated.
like a soundtrack library playlist. I'll tell like, hey Siri, play soundtrack library, and it'll start playing.
Good things happen to nice
random
people, am I
music
right?
from my soundtrack library, and most of it is because
Yeah, exactly.
Most of it's like Lord
My
of the Rings
honey's
stuff.
very nice people.
I can listen to that score like I'm listening to my favorite band or artists.
I know.
Was it Howard Shore and John Williams? Those two.
Okay. Can I be
Yeah.
fancy?
Those,
I will
are
say-
like always on repeat.
Now we
Well,
shrink
John
it.
Williams has like the better track record for producing, just hit after hit. in
That's
terms
too
of
shrunk,
soundtracks
I think.
and original scores.
Too shrunk.
When it comes to the Lord of the Rings trilogy, I feel like Howard Shore
Make
just
a little bigger.
understood it to a degree that made the films feel realized. The music never detracts from any of the scenes. In fact, it adds
No.
to
of
the
that.
emotional resonance. of a lot of the film.
Right. So yeah.
There was that one guy that peaked in high school that was now the football coach, so that stereotype held true. Oh my goodness. Well, where I work, there's a woman who has never gotten over not getting picked for prom queen.
I feel like the movies
So, no, she talks about it. They.
Yeah, I mean, I can't picture the movies.
She's like, yeah, and so anyway, when I lost prom queen to so and so, and I'm like, are you really? That's your whole personality now. The fact that you lost prom queen. Ooh, music.
Their little mischievous leitmotif that Howard Shore kind of like worked into their scenes a little bit. And sorry, you might hear a puppy in the background. My in-laws bought a puppy recently, and she's barking like crazy.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah. So you'll have to live
Borking.
with
It's
that,
borked.
listener. Man, the Howard Shore scores for these 3 films are, just music, and it brings life
pupper do be
to
woofing.
these films, similarly to the way that like John Williams brought life to the Star Wars universe through his music.
You were called a wizard in high school, and you did not like it one bit.
But
I think you told me about that.
the music infuses itself. Like for
Right.
me, it's different. Like it's just interwoven with the story. I feel like it tells a story in itself. With with the moments. Like it feels right. Like it was perfectly placed for each scene.
I don't know if you've ever listened to it, but one of my favorite podcasts is called The Soundtrack Show. And he goes into the music of The Fellowship of the Ring specifically in like a 2 or 3 part series.
That's
and he talks
not
about how
bad.
Howard
Maybe
Shore
a little.
was literally on set like most of the time that they were filming, and just like trying to get like the music down. He wanted, which is rare for
That's pretty
a
cool,
composer to like actually
though.
be there on set while they're doing something like that. But this is something that he really wanted to do. Most of the time,
Good.
composers will see like the finished product and then put music on top of it. But he wanted to live the Lord of the Rings, and he did. Like the fact that he brought these movies together through sound and stuff is pretty cool. And a lot of it is I think it's called diegetic. I might be getting that wrong. Let me just look that up really quick.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, it's called diegetic music. He a lot of the music in the movie that we hear are themes that the audience or like the actual characters in the stuff in the film can hear or were singing
weird.
in previous scenes. So like you have the song that Gandalf is singing, "The road goes ever on and on." When he shows up, that's the music that's playing in the background of that scene. He like Howard Shore wrote the music, but then put the songs that were like written down by Tolkien in the actual film. So it's diegetic music. So it's like it exists in the real world and in the fictional world at the same time. So stuff like that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh.
I agree. I think that.
Oh
like I said,
yeah,
the
this is perfect.
movies would
Ooh, yes,
feel
yes.
completely different without it.
Yeah. All right. So Bilbo has been trying long and hard to find a way to leave. He's itching to go on another adventure. Gandalf has known about his plans for some time, it seems. When he's visiting Bilbo, he says, "Oh, so you're still going through with your plans? And what about the ring? Are you leaving that to Frodo too?" And Bilbo obviously has like a clear addiction to whatever power the ring has on him, and it makes sense. There's addictive properties to it, and I think the film does a really good job. I forget if the book does it as well, but the film does a really good job of like showing the personality of someone who has a dependency on something.
Yeah.
And I think it touches on that in like a pretty profound way. Like it doesn't shy away from addiction, which is clearly what the ring does to people.
Right. He has like a Gollum moment with it.
Yeah,
My
a couple
precious.
times, yeah, a couple times. So when it comes to like actually finally making the plan to like leave, you know, he has this party, he invites everyone basically like he knows in the entire Shire and just says time to go. And while he's saying that, he's like looking directly into Frodo's eyes. Like he clearly has a lot of love for his adoptive nephew, Frodo, and we learn why later on in the film, where he tells Frodo like the reason I adopted you is because you were a lot like me, you know, or some iteration of like that idea, that concept.
Right.
And
Whoa!
what that really means isn't that he has the same
Hold
personality, but the fact that he
Okay.
requires more from the world. At least that's how I interpreted it. So
Follow
the
you.
whole
These are not going to line
Shire
up, and that
stuff is
bothers
super
me.
meaningful for me because you have this
Ugh.
lovely, happy life that you could be totally content with, but the wider world is waiting for you. And I kind of feel that way about, like, you know, people who never leave their country or never go on vacation. It's like, yeah, you could be perfectly content.
This man
You
hating.
don't have to ever leave your small little corner of the world, and you can live a happy life. But there's so much more to see in the world. And once you get out of the door, you start to realize what you've been missing, you know? And I think that's why, and this is going to be a controversial opinion.
Controversial.
I believe Fellowship is my favorite movie of the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Oh, damn.
Which effectively
Committed.
makes my favorite movie of all time, because the Lord of the Rings trilogy is my favorite movies of all time. I say that Fellowship is my favorite because it's the film purely about adventure. By the time that the Fellowship breaks in the Two Towers, and by the time of the desperation that ensues in Return of the King, the characters are beaten down. There's no urge to go on with the story besides like actual need, you know? But in this first film, there's still like a longing to see the world, you know? You still have the hobbits like discovering things, and you're discovering things with the hobbit. I love that about the film. The fact that like you walk, they're walking and Sam stops and it's just like, this is the farthest I've ever been away from home. It's such a powerful little moment, you know, because it's this little guy who's never stepped out of his comfort zone and is kind of being
Oh, I
forced
see.
by Gandalf to do
Whoopsie.
so, but he's willing to do he's willing to do it because it means
Look at that.
that he's
And
helping
now
Mr. Frodo,
don't look
his
at
best
that.
friend. And oh man, there's so I can talk and like wax poetic about this film for
Perfect.
ages, but that moment is one that gets me because it's just like you're doing this not only for Frodo but also for you. You're going on an adventure and you're learning about the world around you, and it's really cool.
I love it when Sam gets caught eavesdropping.
I ain't been dropping no eaves, sir.
And he was he said that
He was a
trimming
fairy.
the, like bushes.
Yeah.
a little late to be trimming the hedge or something like that.
Yeah.
'Cause-
Oh, one cool little thing that I noticed, and I
Hi,
noticed every
Joshua.
time,
You brought me
is
yummy
that the
power
ring
flower.
realizes
Eat
that
it, become
Bilbo
the
is
strongest
leaving
being in
the
all the
Shire.
lands. Okay.
So
Okay, eating
he
it.
puts the
I'm
ring on and
eating it.
disappears, and he has that like moment. That he goes
I ate
back
it.
to the house, and Gandalf is just like,
Thank
think
you.
You're terribly clever, don't you? And you know, they have that little moment where it's like, you want the ring for yourself. It's mine. It's my precious. I love that moment with Gandalf because that's when you start to really see his power, like shine.
It'd
a
be
little bit.
nice
when
if
he,
these
like,
colors
turns the room dark and
matched.
he starts talking with, like, a
Now
booming
I shall
voice.
destroy all my foes. Oh my
yeah. That
goodness.
was, like, a really-
I just want to destroy
It's one that like always
this
gives me
difficult
chills because,
art
like, the music
project.
stops,
That's the
it's
only
just-
thing I want to
it's
destroy.
like the pressure's rising in the room, and Bilbo just cowers. And it's almost like a parent with a child, you know, like they don't want to be angry with the person, but you need to kind of have a little bit of a temper if you're gonna teach them anything. Or you need to kind of put them in
So
their
it
place
like
occasionally, and
kind
that's
of
what Gandalf
connects.
did. And I love how Bilbo kind of like cowers and hugs Gandalf.
You like how I got the
soft.
pixie head in there? Well, it's an
Just goes
outfit
to show
for
that
Pixie.
Right.
It's
yeah, like
it's
Gandalf's like,
I'm
"You
making
think
it
I'm gonna
for
come
this
here with
man.
some cheap tricks?" And
So
then
I gotta
it's like,
I'm tailoring it
yeah,
to
like,
the
dude,
man.
like really imposing in that moment.
Yeah. It's a really good scene. It's also a really good use of like camera angles to make Gandalf look much bigger than Bilbo and stuff.
Yeah, I know.
yeah.
Ooh.
But yeah, when Bilbo's leaving the house and Gandalf's like, Bilbo, the ring is still in your pocket, and it's supposed to be left.
Oh,
for Frodo.
Bilbo.
The ring knows that he's leaving. The ring knows he's going to Mordor, and doesn't want him to leave without it. So Bilbo takes the ring out, and he starts turning his hand, and his hand is like vertical. Like he turns it in a way that it's like his palm is now like vertical to the ground, and the ring doesn't want to slip off, but it starts like slowly, like almost like a magnetic pull, like and it hits the ground, and instead of bouncing, it just like lies flat. It's such a weird moment, and it's filmed that way to make it
You
seem
think
as
this
though the ring
outfit's
has a mind
derpy?
of its own and almost
Bro.
physics of its own, because it doesn't bounce in that moment. It doesn't fall with gravity like a normal object would. So
Right. Yeah,
it's cool.
and it like displays the heaviness of it too, which comes into play later on in the movie, like later on the series.
Yeah, you start to realize that the ring is gaining power as Sauron is gaining power. So over the 60 years that Bilbo's had the ring, Sauron has been particularly weak. You know, the ring has kept him alive and stuff, and Bilbo has, like, you know, put it on occasionally. But with the wraiths being released into, you know, onto Middle Earth to go find Baggins in the Shire, and Sauron ready to unleash his armies, the ring has more power now. It's almost like it's drawing a hold on Bilbo, and then eventually on Frodo. Frodo holds the ring for much less than Bilbo does.
Yeah.
But by the end, Frodo is like much more of a junkie, I would say, than Bilbo was. You know?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah, that moment when the wraiths come was a crazy moment, because this is when you this is when you really like first see them, you know, coming across our heroes.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember seeing them as a kid and thinking, man, these things are really creepy.
Yeah. Then they do like they find really creepy ways to make them even creepier, you know? And what's cool is that this is like when we first start to get an understanding of what the threat is of the movie, you know? And by like, if you're watching the extended editions, you're a good 30 minutes, 40 minutes into the film before there's even a threat. And which, you know,
that
it's
ain't
fine
it.
because you have lovely storytelling, you know, throughout the films. But, you know, Gandalf leaves for a short period of time, goes to not Isengard, he goes to Minas Tirith.
They're taking the hobbits to Isengard.
He does some research on the ring because, you know, he tried to touch it, but he saw the Eye of Sauron and he's just like, that's not right. So he does some quick fact checking, and he realizes that the ring that he has is probably the one ring to rule them all.
The one ring to bind them.
The one ring to bring them all. Gandalf swings back. He's kind of crazed, obviously. He realizes that he probably kind of made a big error in not realizing that Bilbo had a very powerful magical ring.
Right.
For many years. And, you know, he has Frodo cast the ring into the fire.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, he comes in, he's like, where's the ring?
Is it secret? Is it safe?
Is it
Like,
secret?
just, like,
Is it safe?
Yeah, like super just unkempt, like all crazy looking.
So they throw it into the fire, and we have the writing on the ring start to appear, which is, first of all, such a beautiful design. Like, I don't think there will ever be a time in the future where you can go back to these films and think, wow, these sets and stuff and props don't look real, because they do. they look like 100% fantasy. And
Right.
the writing on the ring is beautiful. Even though it's supposed to be like the, you know, black speech of Mordor and stuff, it's such a cool logo.
I know, man. It's more like the beautiful speech of Mordor.
The beautiful text, the beautiful script of Mordor.
Yeah, there you go. The beautiful script of Mordor. Yeah, it was really cool, and just the effect of the inscription coming about, like when they threw it in the fire, like that didn't look cheap either. That looked so real.
It's kind of amazing how the special effects on this film haven't become, or this trilogy even hasn't become outdated. There are certain scenes, like when you look at like a macro level of like battle scenes and stuff, like the people running in the background look computer generated. But for the most part, the actual, like if it like a computer effect that is shown, like the ring, you know, showing its script on it, holds its like weight. Like it doesn't look like it's outdated at all, and that's an amazing feat, because it was like at the start, or like, you know, one of the first films in that decade to like really start using special effects really heavily.
Speaking of that,
Boy.
something that I've watched and I absolutely love them is all the bonus discs that come with the extended edition, and it really, like, I mean, you're paying for like all the behind the scenes. I mean, they tell you everything. Like it shows like how painstakingly the process was in making these films. Like it shows a lot of, you know, building the sets and building a lot of the weapons and the armor and the clothing, you know, the tailoring, the blacksmithing, the leather working. It's so worth actually watching. I don't know if you've watched them.
I haven't watched all of it, but I've definitely watched some of them.
I did it for the Two Towers because, and we'll talk more about it, but I always thought that Rohan was such a beautiful, like, that horse, you know, the horse people in their lands, and just a lot of, you know, the lore behind it. There's so much lore behind even the designs.
Yeah, I think that we'll have to touch on that. I love Rohan. It has such a, I don't even know the word, earthy feel, you know, like it's like hardy.
Living off the land.
Yeah, it's such a cool culture.
It's very, very like middle age, but like it's not really a city. Like I always saw, like,
it's more
if
of a
you
fort.
think about it, if you thought about it in the terms of, you know, Game of Thrones, Minas Tirith is more like King's Landing, and Rohan is more along the lines of, or at least the city was something smaller, like Winterfell.
Yeah, I can see what you're
That's
saying.
cool
Yeah, where it's kind of
comparisons.
like enclosed or whatever.
Even though they have like their own kings and stuff, but
yeah,
for the most part, they are interconnected down the line. But
Is no perfect.
I love the designs behind the sets, you know, and just like simple as the clothing.
Yeah, no, everything is so well put together, and they everything seemed like they thought about for an extended period of time.
Right, they had so many people on board, and they must have been they must have been extremely cohesive for what they produced.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, I can't imagine the amount of work that went into these films, but I'm so appreciative that they did go like
okay.
as
Well,
far as they did,
that's
just because the final product is something, you know.
That's
almost
pretty
20 years
good for
later,
now.
We're talking about with just pure awe. And all right, so let's go back to the film. Let's skip ahead a little bit to when Frodo and Sam are on the road.
Make his
they
vest.
meet up with Merry and Pippin, who are stealing fruits and vegetables from Farmer Maggot's crop, and they find themselves on the road where Gandalf told them not to be. And they like hide behind the root of this tree, and that's where they first the four hobbits first encounter the Nazgul, the ring wraith.
Yeah.
And dude, that is one of the creepiest scenes in the entire trilogy. And it just comes out of nowhere because it's like we're laughing at the fact that like Pippin's almost being pushed down into like a pile of dung, and then like, I think I've broken something, and it's a carrot. And then all of a sudden, like, the music kind of like gets super eerie and quiet. A horse draws up, and like,
not the
his
horse
hooves are so badly,
not the hooves,
like, put into place. The hooves are bleeding because of nails that are like digging into it, sticking
out. Yeah.
Oh, it gives you chills that just like thinking about that scene. And then the Nazgul like kind of like leans over the root of the tree and it starts sniffing, and it's almost like death. It's almost like the bugs of the earth are coming up, like it's raining, and it's so creepy. But for whatever reason, Frodo is like drawn to the ring because of the power of the ring wraith and the connection that the ring has to them. So he almost draws attention to the fact that the ring is there, and the ring wraith can kind of tell.
Yeah,
so
that Sam like stops him in that moment, and then Mary, he throws a bag of vegetables that catches the attention of the ring wraith.
Right. I don't know how he fell for that, but he did. Like how did they like get away? Like how far did he throw that bag of vegetables? Like how did he?
I know, it's like so cartoonish.
But whatever.
Oh, what was that? Goes over there, finds a bag of vegetables. Dang it, not again.
One thing we didn't touch upon, and this is something that's like just something that's been added to the extended edition. It doesn't actually affect the film at all per se, but it's a nice little touchstone piece about like Sam and Frodo and like what they're experiencing as they're exploring the wider world is like when the elves show up, and they're singing their lament of the elves, and they're going off to the west, and it's just kind of like a beautiful little moment that you can't really explain because we don't know the mentality or the rationale of the elves, and neither do Sam or Frodo, but Sam realizes that it's like a sad moment, and it's something that like the world is losing by the elves going to the Undying Lands,
Right. Yeah, no, I agree. I do like that moment. And the hobbits aren't completely ignorant because Sam is like, oh, like he heard it, like he knew where they were going. He had heard the stories, so like actually seeing it, and they were very like amazed. They're like, oh my goodness, it's elves. Like they hadn't seen elves before.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I really did like that moment too. And that moment did kind of foster that sadness because you kind of felt it in that moment. You're like, you know what, he is right. Like they're leaving. They no longer want to be, a part of their world.
Yeah, it's
part of your world.
Later, and especially as these podcasts go on. But all right, so they make it across the river. They're running from the ring wraiths. They make it over like the Huckleberry Ferry, just barely, with the ring wraith at their heels, and the water stops them. This is our first glimpse that water seems to be something that they don't particularly like. So they make it into this other town. They're going to an inn called... Yeah, they're in Bree. They go to the Prancing Pony to meet up with Gandalf. dude, it's the weirdest thing. I keep in my head calling Gandalf Daredevil. It doesn't make any sense.
Fuck?
But like I keep checking myself whenever I say Gandalf. Like I pause for like a brief second. I'm like, why am I about to say Daredevil? So
yeah, they're at the Prancing Pony. They're waiting for Murdoch, and no, I'm just kidding.
Avocados at law.
Was it in this moment, like during their adventure or during their trek there, Gandalf goes to Isengard to let Saruman, pretty much like his boss, know about that the ring was found, and this is where we find out that Saruman is actually in league with Sauron. So they have like a battle, and so that's why Gandalf is not there, to meet the hobbits. Why he's like held up. And
this scene is interesting for a number of reasons. But as Gandalf is pulling up to Isengard, you see like a aerial view of Gandalf riding up to the tower, and you hear Saruman, Christopher Lee's narration of what's going on. And all of a sudden you see that he's not only narrating, but it's the line that he eventually ends by speaking aloud to Gandalf. So clearly the narration, like the music itself in the film, is diegetic. So he's talking and Gandalf is hearing Saruman like speak these things, and then as Gandalf pulls up, he says the final things out loud, like with his normal speech. And it just goes to show the difference between Gandalf and Saruman, because Gandalf needs some sort of like provocation to let his fireworks go a little bit when he enters Hobbiton. Like, people are expectant, and he, as he's riding through Hobbiton, he's not like trying to show off or anything. He looks like a very humble dude.
Yeah.
But it's not until the kids like want to see some amazing fireworks that Gandalf, shows off a little bit. But we see Gandalf ride up to Isengard, and Saruman is like the least humble person ever. It just goes to show like the difference in their personality, because he's showing off his ability to like project his booming Christopher Lee voice to Gandalf, even before Gandalf shows up. It's almost like he's putting Gandalf in his place, like that he's the White Wizard,
For real. And then, Count Dooku and Magneto get locked into about, oh wait, wrong. I just crossed beams there. I crossed it even more there by making a Ghostbusters reference. But yeah, he
Triple
finds
homicide
out
there.
that Gandalf finds out that Saruman has a Palantir.
Palantir, yeah.
Which is it's a seeing stone. And
there's
a bunch
like
of
crystal
them.
ball almost.
So there's like, they're rare, and they allow you to, I guess, see across. I don't know, like they don't explain too much on them, but they're rare, and they're dangerous to have.
Yeah,
because you don't know who's looking.
And we learn, again, it's one of those things that like they did not need to give us this much background about a crystal ball, but there's dialogue, there's lore that's built into the dialogue of this scene that just expands the world even more. One of the lost seeing stones, they haven't all been accounted for.
Right.
Like you don't know who's watching on the other side, because apparently it's a two-way street almost sort of thing. So it's such every little detail in this movie, in this trilogy, is just something that they thought about. And it's through the power and the magic of Tolkien's writings that inspired Jackson to go as hard as he did, but like everything has a purpose. And we get to see more of the Palantir in action later on. Like this is setting up stuff in the Two Towers that shows up later.
Yeah.
Or no, sorry, Return of the King.
Well, I mean, it sets up for the rest also. I mean, it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
it's like a domino effect.
So Gandalf and Saruman have a wizard battle, and it's a kind of a weird wizard battle. You don't really understand what's happening, but it's interesting.
It's like a force battle.
Yeah, it's a force battle actually. But I
It's
love
like
how
it's like Obi-Wan and Anakin essentially.
yeah, and I love how when Gandalf puts the cloth over the Palantir and he gets a vision of the eye, he suddenly realizes his friend is not his friend anymore.
Yeah.
He realizes that Saruman has, struck a deal or an alliance with Sauron, and it's gonna get messy. So he immediately tries to leave, and all 4 doors close, and they have this crazy wizard battle where they're throwing each other around this very uncomfortable looking room.
I know what Saruman does to him is like so weird. That spinning thing, it just like spins him.
Like it's almost like he's spinning him like on like his axis is his head, and he's just like spinning around like that.
I know, he's just like, it just keeps on spinning, and then like throws him up into the roof.
I have a question.
Somehow he's on top of it.
I have a question for you, because this is something that I started like digging into this past time that I watched the film. I thought it was a plot hole, and I was just like, wait a minute, what is going on? So by the end of the wizard duel, Saruman takes Gandalf's staff and his own and lifts him up into onto the roof of the building. How does Gandalf get his staff back? Because we see that he jumps off onto one of the eagles later on.
Oh, that's a good question.
They actually answer it. Not in Lord of the Rings. They answer it in The Hobbit. Okay, so I have to pull back a little bit. So in the beginning half of this film, Gandalf has a staff, and in his staff, it houses where he keeps his like little pipe, his smoking pipe. It's kind of weird, but like if you pause it at certain times, you can see his pipe like at the top of his staff, like just kind of like entwined in the roots of his staff and stuff. So that's the staff that Saruman uses against him. But later on in the film, when Gandalf is in Rivendell and later on in Moria and stuff, he has a very similar staff, but it's slightly different. The top of it seems to be more opened up, even though it's still like the same type of wood and stuff. So I was just like, did he make another staff? It looks very similar. I realized, and I started looking it up, and apparently Radagast the Brown, the wizard that Gandalf meets in the Hobbit movies, played by Sylvester McCoy, his staff is the second one that Gandalf has in the Lord of the Rings movies.
Oh.
So when he jumped onto the eagles, he immediately went over to Radagast. Radagast gave him his staff, and that's what he uses up until he becomes Gandalf the White.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know. I thought that was like just a mind-blowing detail. Like the fact that they even thought about like fixing a little potential plot hole, even though it wasn't a plot hole because it was a different staff technically.
Dang.
Peter Jackson covers his bases, bro.
Dang, he's like, no plot holes here.
I ain't dropping no plot holes, sir.
Yeah, that's something that, like, with how smooth the film is, like, you just don't think about stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, you're right. That's some good digging.
Yeah, I might make a video about that just because it's something I've never heard about, you know? I think it could be a cool little 4-minute video or something like that.
Yeah, no, exactly. So that was happening, and the hobbits are still at the Prancing Pony, waiting for us to talk more about them.
They're taking the hobbits to Isengard.
Remember that song?
Oh yes, I do.
They're taking the hobbits to Isengard. They're taking the hobbits to Isengard.
Did you ever see the video of Orlando Bloom dancing to that song on the side of the Hobbit.
No, I
Yeah.
need to see it.
Yeah, he finds the song online, and while they're filming his scenes in the Hobbit movies, he's like singing, "They're taking the hobbits to Isengard." So that's cool. All right, we meet some unsavory characters, or are they, at the Prancing Pony Inn while they're waiting for Gandalf.
I know, giving Frodo the stink eye in the corner, you know?
Yeah, and it's interesting because we don't really know much, and I appreciate the way they introduced Aragorn or Strider in this scene.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that like certain characters have multiple names given to them depending on who they're known by, and it seems very natural in this world to have different titles and stuff. Like some people, I think the Rohirrim, the people of Rohan call Gandalf Mithrandil and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, dude, I love that. I actually love that nickname.
It's a cool nickname. If anyone decides that they want to call me Mithrandil, I'll accept it.
I know that. Yeah.
But yeah, so they call this guy Strider, and he's a dangerous folk. He's also, the heir of
Dangerous folk.
He's also one of those rangers. The one
Yeah.
oh my gosh, dude! Just the names. I'm telling you, like, there's just so much to, like, you can't hate this series. I mean, I know people who do, but not hate, but they just don't care for it.
They're wrong. They're wrong.
Yeah,
just next time they tell you that you're wrong. Sorry.
I know, like the ranger, his people. Like, I mean, the name sounds so cool too. Dunedain.
Oh yeah, dude. The language that this guy infuses is so realized. It doesn't sound like a fictional world. It sounds
No,
like
it doesn't.
It sounds like you're in like some bridge between Norse mythology and like ancient or like medieval England. Like it feels,
and
it
it expands so much more like outside the movies too, because like there's like the video games. Like I was talking about Battle for Middle Earth, and I remember that they had the the Oliphants.
The Oliphants,
yeah, but they're really called Mumakil.
Yeah.
And I learned it from that game. I was like, what? I was like, oh, they're called Mumakil? Oh, I didn't know that. I learned it from the game. So like it expands, like that world expands so much. And let me tell you, I'm gonna be a day oneer when that TV show comes out.
Oh, dude, you and half the freaking world. That's gonna be huge, dude. The fact that what was it? I think the first season of the show is gonna cost like $250 million, which is the most ever. Let me just double check that. Okay, hold on. It gets crazier. As of April 16th of this year, Amazon's Lord of the Rings series will cost at least $465 million for the first season.
That's
For the
expensive.
first season? Oh my god.
Shush.
$500 million they're throwing into this first season.
Oh my gosh, dude. That's like more than that's more than the production of like movies.
I'm just gonna double check and see how much the Lord of the Rings trilogy cost to make.
I really am hoping that if they're dumping this much money, that they are really taking the care that they need. Bring everybody back on board. Don't pull a Hobbit. Try to do what you can in recreating. Like, you're not going to be able to recreate what the Lord of the Rings did, but you can still take some of that magic and infuse it, and maybe have like a fresh take.
Yeah. Okay, so
and I know it's going to be before the events of the films.
Yeah, so all right, so let's put this into perspective. The upcoming Lord of the Rings series will cost $465 million in only its first season.
Ooh, man.
The Lord of the Rings trilogy together cost less than $300 million to produce. So the first season of this show is costing more than the entire movie trilogy cost for them to make. So
those things are awesome.
either this trilogy is, or either this new show is going to just be like the most beautiful turd ever, or it better be amazing, you know? It better be
most beautiful turd ever. Oh
dude,
gosh.
it's going to be a glittering pile of manure.
This TV show will either be completely amazing or just a turd that's filmed in New Zealand.
A turd that shines, yeah.
So the hobbits, they meet Strider, aka Aragorn. They don't know that right away. Aragorn saves them from an encounter with the Ringwraiths at the end. So there's that introduction.
At this point, there's that scene that's, you know, we learn a little bit more about what the Ringwraiths are. We learn that they're like kings of men that were corrupted by the rings of power that were given to them by Sauron. And it just, again, you know, every little detail just blows my mind with this world. And like the fact that they're just like literally just wraiths of their former selves hunting down Frodo and Sam, and they kind of trick the Ringwraiths into, you know, pretending that they're in one inn, but really they appear to have like moved to another inn to like get a vantage point on like to see if they would, you know, hunt them down this way.
I know, man. These things are like, it's like too easy to fool.
They are.
I mean, with bags of vegetables and the quick like slip, you know, they like slipped out like on them.
Yeah. So, you know,
those
with
things
the
are
help
not
of
good agents of darkness.
no, but
Ooh.
they're
creepy. Yeah.
I feel bad for the guy who was like, you know, manning the gate, and they just squashed him
Oh yeah.
in Bree.
Yes.
Yeah, I felt bad for that guy.
They just trampled him.
They just
They just like stepped all up on him.
Ooh.
who goes there?
This is
All
perfection.
right, let's jump ahead.
Actually,
You know, they're on their way. They're heading towards Rivendell, Master Gamgee, to see the elves or something like that, to the House of Elrond. I love this moment in the film because it's still before any immediate danger. You know, there's still moments before anyone has gotten seriously hurt that we know of. Obviously, Gandalf has been hurt and enslaved at this point, but we don't know that at this stage. But when you know they're going over to Weathertop and stuff, it's there that sense of adventure is still there, and it's fresh for them. You know, it's a new day. They have a new traveling companion who actually knows the way to where they're actually headed and stuff, and there's a sense of excitement among them. You know.
Right.
Yeah, I love that stuff. And then they go to Weathertop where they
this
make
is
some
so much
mistakes.
better. I'm so happy.
Yeah, I know. Having a nice little barbecue on the side, and
Some nice crispy bacon.
I know. I saved some for you, Mr. Frodo. Yeah, the Ringwraiths catch up, and the hobbits done messed up because they alerted them of
Look,
that,
it's Venti.
you know, of where they were, and I find it hilarious because like out of all the hobbits, like I mean you would think maybe Sam, but like Frodo's the only one that's like, nah man, you need to put this out because we're trying to hide. But they're like, nah man, let's just open up a fire, and not even Sam was like, yeah, you know, don't do that. He learns though. He definitely learns.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, you know what I think it is? I think it's Frodo's the only one who really has a grasp of the power and the danger of the ring. You know, when he was
right, because he accidentally uses the ring inside the
inn,
the tavern, yeah, the inn,
which is why the Ringwraiths looked there first.
Right, because whenever it's used, they're drawn to the like use of power, or it's like a surge in power. And so that effect is so cool when he puts the ring on, and it's just like it's almost like another dimension that he enters, or a plane of existence, and it's just like everything's kind of blurred and like wispy, and it's pretty cool. Right, yeah, and he turns invisible.
Hi,
So
Brime.
yeah,
He thinks he can do that for.
Yeah, we're listening to
on
Lord of the
Weathertop
Rings
to get away from the ring raids.
while I make
Right,
Venti
right,
from
so-
Genshin.
and this was a cool effect. He
Genti from
he,
Fenshin.
puts it on in Weathertop, and when he looks at the ring rates, he sees what they really are, which are like, you know,
I think it's looking
like
good.
dead kings that are
I'm
locked in
pretty
this lifelong
happy
servitude
so far.
to Sauron, you know, because of the
Yeah.
rings.
It's such a
And,
cool effect, and it's just like
it really was.
it's almost like negative, you know, a negative reality, because they're like wreathed in white and they're like almost they are glowing, you know.
Right, and like that sound it makes when he's in that like that other dimension.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really crazy. And Frodo gets stabbed by like I guess, well, not the leader then, but becomes the leader because of that.
No, I think he was the leader of the Nazgul at the time. He was the Witch King of Angmar that stabbed
Right.
Frodo.
Right. But I don't know if he became the Witch King afterwards, because it was like after that where he got that new get up and his new weapon and all that stuff. I have to
You
look
may be
into
right.
that.
Yeah, you may be right. Actually, I don't have an answer to that, so you're
So I may be right, I may be wrong, but nevertheless, Frodo gets stabbed by a Morgul blade.
Yes. And that kind of sets the plot into hyperdrive, you know? The story is
Right.
kind of slow up until this point, and then now it doesn't have the necessity of going slow anymore.
Right. Like they're not trying to. Well, Aragorn saves him, you know, beats him up a little bit, like sets a couple on fire. The need to get to Rivendell like heightens even more because Frodo's in danger. He's been poisoned by this Morgul blade, so they're like, we got to get out of here.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So they get off Weathertop. They're searching for some remedy.
You don't know why you can't
but
remember
Frodo's
Venti's
kind
hair
of like
color?
losing
Venti's hair is
like
blue.
you said, he's been stabbed
But I'm
by
making this
Morgul
model
blade.
for
It's almost
Pixie.
like- it's not.
That's
poison
Pixie's face
per
right
se,
now.
But it's almost like evil.
Frodo's
like the
ring
evil
world
black
feels like
hole
Fey
that
realm or
has been
something.
stabbed,
Yeah.
you know,
More like
and
Fey
it's sucking
hell
the life
though.
out of him.
It's
It's
a little
making him become a wraith.
spoopy.
Right, it's a different type of poisoning. It's not like the typical sense where it's like you can just take an antidote. It's something that requires magic to get rid of.
Right,
magic
it's
of
almost
elves.
a curse or whatever.
Right, yeah, that's a good way of putting it. And like you could see it, the effect his eyes, the ways that his eyes were changing. And
His skin was getting pale. He was getting veiny.
right, and they use this thing called King's Foil to kind of like slow the effect.
King's foil.
So yeah,
That's a weed.
yeah,
Of course, the gardener would know.
right. Sean Astin.
I think in for Return of the King, he won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor. Dude, he carried that film as he carried Frodo up Mordor.
Yeah, he did such a good job.
You forget the other
He's
realm
a
name?
character
I don't really know. I really
by
like
the
Lord of the
end
Rings,
of
but
the
I don't
series, he's
have a lot of
one
that stuff
the
like
most,
memorized.
like, beloved out of,
You know what I mean?
You just there's something that to love about Sam, especially by the time you get to the end, because I mean he goes through
Ooh.
a lot like everybody else, but I feel like he goes through more.
Well, he does. He does, and I think we'll have to get into that. It
Yeah,
doesn't
we'll
touch on
cover
that in this film particularly,
Right.
but especially in the other films, he starts having to carry not only his own
Yeah,
weight, but
baby.
Frodo's.
Da.
The
You're gonna
You
have
working
to
on
let us
anything
know
tonight,
that-
Brime?
You're gonna have
This is
to
a
add that sound
co-working
clip when
stream.
we
We're
get to
getting
it.
our art
I
done.
can't carry it for you, but I can carry you.
Dude, Sam is the goat. Oh, looks like we have a special guest coming out of her little dungeon. Jen.
Right now, I'm just
Hi. Would
templating
you
out
like to talk a little bit
pieces,
about
and then I'll color it
specifically
another time.
Fellowship of the Ring? Like, what is it that makes the movie tick for you?
I guess what makes the movie tick for me is just like all of the character depth that they give to the little hobbits. You just see so many different personalities in that party scene, And even though, you know, they all have like a, you know, they kind of give a general description of what hobbits are like. You just see like the grumpy hobbits, the party hobbits, the kid hobbits. Those kids are so cute. Like absurdly cute children. And yeah, I just love it. I've been reading the book and I love the scene where Frodo asks how they know he's leaving. And the hobbits say that Frodo just like would stare longingly at different parts of the Shire and be like, I'm never gonna see this field again, like under his breath. But they all heard him and they were like, where is he going? But they didn't know where he was going. They just knew they didn't want him to go alone. And they just decided, okay, we're gonna go with him. It's friendship. It's wholesome. It's lovely. And I want to live there.
Inhabitants specifically?
Yes.
All right.
And that's my sense. Gotta go.
That's your 2 cents? All right.
Thank
so
you,
Jen is in a D&D campaign right now. She meets Thursdays, which is usually the day that we film. But Jen, we'll have to have you for a future discussion of Lord of the Rings.
Where's that?
If you're willing.
Yes.
All right, now that
Actually,
she is out of our way, we can get back to the true discussion. No, just kidding. I always love when she has a say in the podcast, whatever. So, what were we talking about?
Yeah, I can't do this one.
Kingsfoil, and you know the fact that
Kingsfoil.
I mean, I might be able to do the.
Arwen comes along.
Whoa, I
Yeah.
might be able to
What's
make
so
this
weird
work.
about that scene for me is, you know that
It
there's
is
something
pretty much in the
between
right spot,
Aragorn
which is
and this girl, and she's just kind of like
encouraging.
wasting time for
She,
like 10
She
minutes.
like pulls up and draws her sword onto him.
Yeah, like this is a time to like flirt and like play some game that only he would know, but it kind of works in the moment, especially the first time you see it, because you don't know who she is, you don't know what her intentions are, but she turns out to be
Pussycat Bow.
apparently a very good writer, and she is able to take Frodo to Rivendell in a short period of time. We don't know
No
how
saving.
long it actually takes her, but apparently it's a 3 days walk to Rivendell from where they are.
Yeah, so that's probably, if that's a 3 days walk, riding probably like kind of cuts that in half.
Oh,
so,
I
mean,
see.
Still a long time.
Yeah, I would say maybe about a
Tricky.
day, you know, considering, you know, horses
A
can
day to a day and a half, maybe.
Maybe.
Between that, yeah, it's still a long bit of time.
What are you doing?
I like that moment at the river that she has with the ring wraiths.
I don't know if this is
Which
good
that
enough.
is
The,
so
elven.
cool.
Like she like.
Grime, you're just doing
uses,
laundry and buying dinner,
yeah, and
playing
the
Apex, and
water comes
recording
rushing
music
in its
later.
voices.
It's such a
Ooh.
cool scene, and like the way that this
That don't sound too bad.
makes her voice echo and like
Yeah.
reverberate over the water, and dude, it's so
yeah.
cool. And she taunts them, and this is where the previous knowledge of the fact that they're kind of scared of water comes into play, where she taunts them through the water and then like uses their supposed fear against them. It's so cool. So I don't know if you noticed or if you ever saw it, but Josh Gad had a series called Together Apart or something like that during COVID, and one of the episodes was like they reunited the cast of Fellowship of the Ring, or not Fellowship of the Ring, but Lord of the Rings in general. Liv Tyler, who plays Arwen, still remembers like the Elvish that she had to recite for that scene, and she was excited to like say it aloud again. That was pretty cool.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it. Was that on YouTube?
Yeah, Josh Gad's. I forget what his show is called. I don't know if he's still doing it, but it's called. I think it's like
See,
something
look, is the
Together
bow.
Apart or whatever, and he brings like
Is the bow.
different cast and crew, you know, together to like relive memories of like their time on movie sets. Like they had an episode for Ferris Bueller.
You do have a
Day
VRoid you should be
Off,
working
and
on? Oh,
they
really?
cast back together, and they had a few.
You
Sorry,
made
it's
that
not called
like
Together Apart, it's
hairstyle
called
with the
Reunited.
straw, right?
I'm gonna have
Because
to
I
check
really
it
liked
out.
that.
Yeah, it's worth it. It's a
That
good-
looked
it's a
so
time.
good.
They are finally in Rivendell. You know, they've gone on
That, like,
a pretty
straw hat?
hectic little adventure.
Like not
These
straw,
three
like
hobbits.
cup straw.
Frodo
I don't know if you know what I'm
has
talking
come
about,
back
but I
to
really
his
liked
health.
it.
We don't know how long he's been out of it. Maybe a couple days under Elrond's like.
We're gonna
care.
leave that
He's
alone
coming
like
to.
that for right now.
Although
Yeah,
it's worth noting that he'll never be the same. Frodo
yeah.
We'll
from
always
that
have
Just
this
for the
kind of, like,
vibes.
evil-ish poison curse from Morgul Blade that will plague him till, you know, the day he dies, I'm assuming.
But he's
Some
like
of-
no longer in like grave danger.
It's almost, I guess it's almost kind of like cancer, you know, where it's like they were able to take stage 4 cancer and just put it into remission somehow through some act of magic, you know, like he was a dead man walking, and they brought it back.
Yeah, you
But,
used a
you
lot
know,
of presets. Oh, really?
Cancer, there's always
Well, it looked
the
really good. I
opportunity
liked
for
it.
to come back, you know, and I kind of, that's how I've always seen the illness that he gains from the Morgul Blade. It's
I wish
almost like-
VRoid
it's
had
almost like cancer, you
like
know,
its
I
own
hate to make
overcoat layer.
such a- it's a touchy
Like you have
subject,
your
and I'm
shirt
not
layer,
harping
and then you
on
have
that,
like an
but
overcoat
you
layer,
kinda have to,
which
like,
they don't
make
have,
some parallels
which is stinky.
to real life.
But that's
if you're gonna
okay.
Try to understand what the comparison to reality would be. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I get you.
What are your thoughts on Rivendell?
Rivendell was like really like pretty, really like visually appealing, and they, when it comes to the scenes with elves, especially that moment, that scene that we were talking about earlier with the hobbits and the wood elves, they really like knocked down the music. And
Yeah,
like,
it has to
the
all be done
cinematography.
in the shirt layer.
Like,
Yeah,
it kinda
yeah.
reminds me
But you only
of,
get
I'm
5
pretty
like
sure that
layers per
they took
per
that
accessory. So
Blizzard took that essence
that
and they
that
injected
you
it
use those
for
up
the-
really
for the
quickly.
night elves,
Or I do,
you
really.
know?
Which
Because it has like that
explains-
like wispy kind of like magical feeling. Like Rivendell is like the most magical feeling.
And yeah, you can't mix a
Yeah,
shirt and a
there's a
dress.
sort
That has
of
annoyed me for
elation
forever,
that you
man.
feel. You're
Being
almost-
unable to mix a
it's
shirt and a
almost
dress.
like- it's almost like
It's the little
slowed
things, you
down,
know? I don't feel
and
like I'm asking a
the
lot,
exposure
but
is, like, brightened.
it's like, why
You know,
can't we
everything
have
is
that?
super bright in Rivendell.
Why is that like a big problem?
Like all the conversations seem to be like weightless a little bit, you know? There's a certain atmosphere to the location that does have some sort of magical aura about it.
Custom.
And it's, you know, heightened by the fact that the sets that they built for Rivendell were just so beautiful, you know, and
Yeah.
most of the sets are like miniatures that they were able to like make
Ooh.
look like bigger than they are, but
that with some CG.
with some
Oh, you can make
CG
cardigans
and, you know,
now.
like the makeup that they put on the elves.
I didn't know that there was an
the-
open
the
cardigan
music,
design.
That's like very
I'm
aural
gonna need to use
and
that.
Yeah.
I don't need it right
orchestral,
now, though,
but
so.
it's almost like
It's very like what I've
ethereal.
come to
Right.
like it's what I've come to think of as elven music.
yeah, choir type hymns.
Or do I
and
want to
stuff, but
dress?
It's really cool the way that
A
they
leather suit.
managed to capture
Hello.
that feel for the elves, and they carry that even to
You could always do multiple ones and
Mythoria
just parent
with,
them in
Galadriel,
Blender.
even though it's a
I
different
don't know
feel
anything about
than
Blender.
Rivendell, it's still very
Nope.
elvish, and you can
Right.
feel the two different cultures. Like they're drastically different, but they're.
But I like the
still
little challenge of
perfect,
making
you
as
know?
much as possible
Right,
in VRoid.
It was
That's really
almost
my
as if,
MO. Make as much.
Galadriel,
Ooh, a
they kinda
bolero
reminded me a
jacket.
little bit more of, like, the
Wow.
Night Elves from World of Warcraft,
That you
or
can't see at
the Night
all.
Elves from World
I
of
mean, they've
Warcraft
slowly
kinda
been adding
reminded me
new
of that,
templates and
because it
stuff,
was
which
very,
is
like, dark
really
and, like,
good.
wispy,
But
kind of that area that they were in.
you know, we're like not
Between
there yet.
That first
So
scene of the elves like doing that wave of like slicing up their swords. in
I'm
the
just
battle
goofing around.
of,
I need to
like,
stop doing
Mount
that.
Doom 3,000 years ago, and the fact
I
that Legolas
need-
was such a sharpshooter. That's the reason I decided to go with a Night Elf Hunter in my World of Warcraft career. It was just
Oh.
that like solidified it. It was just the coolest thing to me.
Have I seen
The-
Luca's models? I don't know specifically
Or
at
that
this moment
sound
who
that
you
they-
are
that-
referring
that
to,
the
actually.
bows would make, like whenever they released it, that like kind of, it's hard to explain.
Yeah.
I don't, but you can hear it, right?
And I
Like,
don't
when
think this is gonna do what I
when
wanted
talk
to
about
do.
it.
Oh yeah.
He
for
does
sure.
well. I
So, a lot
assumed he
happens
did
in
VRoid
Rivendell
models, but like I
that
don't
is
know who
worth
that
noting.
is.
I think one thing that we should
I am
mention is
unfamiliar.
the encounter with Bilbo.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
We don't know exactly how much time passes.
Yeah, you should. I would love to see that.
when he
I
leaves
do follow a lot
for
of
Rivendell,
VRoid creators
or
for
when he leaves
inspiration and just
Hobbiton
because they make pretty
and
stuff
they
that I
meet
like
him in
looking
Rivendell.
at. Yeah.
So we can kind of presume a couple months have probably passed.
Yeah, I was gonna, like, I can't assume it being like very long at all.
No, and I don't think it's not supposed to feel very long. It's supposed to
Do
feel
share.
like,
I mean,
the other day.
I think you can go
Singing's
into
gonna last. But,
into
you know, if you
Twitter
consider the
and
fact
you can
that
see lists
Gandalf
people have
left
made, because I have a
to go
list.
to Gondor, then came back.
I have
Right.
check
a
on the
list of
ring,
VRoid creators,
Then, you know, then they
and I
went
just
on
add
this
people to it
adventure. They
as
went to
as
Sildor.
it becomes
They were
apparent that
traveling
some
to
of their
where they
main
should have
content
been
is like
by that
VRoid
point.
creation.
The
I add them
travel
to my
times
list
probably take a
because your
longer period of time than we are
kiss,
like,
your
given
kiss
to
is
see on screen.
my
So
list.
it's probably been a month
Of
or
the
two
best things
since
in
Bilbo was
life.
seen last, but he's aged tremendously.
Right now, I'm trying to figure out if
in
there's a
the,
template that will let me
intervening time because he doesn't
make
have
this Venti
access
collar.
to the ring anymore. And it's worth noting before they head off on their next leg of the adventure, that one scene where Bilbo wants to see the ring again. What are your thoughts on that?
Man, that moment when I was a kid like really creeped me out.
Yeah, that's
That
nightmare
moment,
fuel.
that moment was like pretty nightmarish. Like especially like when he's like,
I have an
you know, like, when he
idea.
asked Frodo if he could see the ring, and Frodo's like, no, I don't think that's a good idea. And then like that really like that CG like face that they did was, oh my god, that was like one of those moments like really creeps me out, like Large Marge from Pee-wee's Big Adventure or something like that. That like really creeped me out too. But that was like one of those moments that like really creeped me out.
Funny thing in the second one, when they're crossing the dead marshes, and Gollum's like, "Don't look at the lights," and he does. Like Frodo like kind of like looks into the bog and he sees the dead soldier, and the soldier opens his eyes, and it's like glowing lights, and it's just the creepiest thing ever. I remember I was in the movie theater with my grandfather, and he grabbed my arm so quick at that moment. He just like grabbed both his like arm stand and my arm, and he just like gripped it really hard. I was like, ow. But that's a moment that like I remember as being like, holy cow, this is getting super scary.
Was it yeah, remember seeing these at midnight, when midnight showings were a thing?
Dude, I kind of miss that,
Yeah,
like
same.
there's something about like a opening night where it was actually like you're going to see it at midnight, like because that's when movies first started.
Like the day that it's like supposed to like really release.
Yeah, it was
now
the
it's
first
like 7
showing.
o'clock the day before.
Yeah, please get out of here with that. It's not fun anymore. All right, going back. We
going way back.
We're getting off track. We're over 2 hours on our recording here. It's probably like an hour 45 for you guys. But let's start to wrap it up with the Council of Elrond. But before that, I think it's important to talk about the fact that Sam has some moments that really shine in this scene, and also Gandalf too. Gandalf is here. He kind of explains what happened to him with Saruman, and the bedside manner that he and Sam show Frodo just goes to show like how much they care for Frodo.
Yeah.
At this point, all the hobbits think that their adventure is over and that they're going to be heading back, and I think there's a little bit of relief there. But I think Frodo realizes this isn't the end. Because Sam is ready to pack up. He's ready to get going. He's just like, well, we did what Gandalf wanted. We brought the ring to the elves. Wow. And he's happy that he had this little
it's so
adventure.
fancy.
But
yeah.
He's ready to go. And you can't fault the guy. He did the thing that he was going to do, and that's it. But Frodo realizes that there's more at stake, and that becomes apparent when they finally,
Yeah.
go to the Council of Elrond.
Hi, Splat Nexus. What's up? Welcome in. Let me make the podcast stop going. How you doing? Welcome in. Do. Welcome. Oh, you were also doing art. Let's go. What were you working on? I'm trying to build a VRoid. Trying to make Venti. How's it going? I'm xCheekyLemonx. I do art streams sometimes. I'm generally a variety streamer. I'm a lemon lion. And my passion is pixel art platformers. Nice to meet you guys. How's it going? Thank you for bringing your community. If you're raiding and running, I feel you. Please do. If you're hanging out, tell me a little bit about how your day's been, how your art has been. Yeah. Welcome in. Welcome. We are also listening to a Lord of the Rings podcast by Project Geekology. It's pretty good. Venti looking good so far. We were making Minecraft skins for VTuber. Oh, that's so cool! You know, guys, I've actually, I think might have played Minecraft like once. But I'm so jelly every time I see all your, like, cute, custom skins. That stuff really makes me want to play Minecraft. I don't really want to play Minecraft. I just want to have a really cool custom Minecraft skin. But that's cool. Was it like, were you like marathoning through a bunch, or did you like, oh my goodness! Thanks for becoming a Zesty Bestie! Did you get like a bunch of skins done, or were you working on like a specific one? Were you able to finish it? What's the progress? How we doing? What's the progress like? Well, that's awesome! Yeah, I hope you had a good time. I hope you have a great rest of your evening, whether here or there, you know? Pleasure to have you anytime. Thanks for coming in. I'm gonna play my podcast again, but you continue telling me about your art and your day. I'd love to hear it.
Of men, elves, dwarves, and the hobbits.
Trying to make Venti's little cloak thing right now. And it's difficult because there's not like a little cape on VRoid Studio that you can that you can do.
This is where you meet Boromir of Gondor and like Legolas and Gimli and Aragorn's there along with Gandalf and
you got 3 quote unquote done. Just need to see if they're good with it. Oh, cool. So like commissions. That's really cool.
They talk about, well, we can, try to do this. Let's try to smash it. And they're like, nothing can destroy this except for, the fires of Mount Doom.
I love how Gimli tries to destroy it. Like, he's like, what are we waiting for?
So what if
right? And
we don't have the poof?
Yeah.
So yeah, they're like,
what if we keep it real and just have it be organically large?
So it becomes settled that they're gonna take it to Mount Doom. What do you call it?
Does it count as a commission if you do it for free? I don't know, because technically I'm making this for someone else as well. This is this was a giveaway I did. I'm making a Halloween outfit for the winner. But it's free. I don't know. Call it whatever you want, my guy.
Mention some of the other characters.
If you did it professionally, why not? That sounds like a commission to me.
He finds out that the Ring of Power actually is here.
Right.
You've tried making yourself outfits in VRoid. It's really hard. Yeah, I mean, it takes a while to get used to like what you're allowed to do.
With the armies of Mordor for the past.
Let's save this like that.
I don't know how long. But
one of the hardest thing I was doing today was can I not wear this? Take this off.
It looks like years
is making this shirt and having the sleeves be like puffy and not puffy, and you know how like Venti's sleeves are from Genshin? That was hard, and there is not a shirt that looks like that. So I'm like mashing things together. Kind of crazy.
They'll throw the ring into Mordor or Mount Doom.
Right.
And it's interesting because Boromir isn't a bad guy, but he's blinded by his love for his people. He's blinded by the power, the hold that the power of the ring has on specifically humans and men. And it's
making a cape. Like you like Venti? You chased him for like 4 banners. Oh, really? Totally I like Sucrose.
The will of the council.
I want my girl. I never got her though. I stopped playing Genshin kind of early on. I got a little overwhelmed.
sure.
I just felt like I would
Because he
log
knew
on
something
and do
else.
dailies and have no time to do anything else. So it was just like
The
log on,
trust.
do dailies, log off, log on, do dailies, log. Like I never made progress, and I was like, well, maybe I just won't play this anymore for a while.
We'll like talk more about that. You know, the next part.
Yeah.
Frodo pipes up, or Frodo chimes in, says,
But
"I'll take it."
I will
And,
take it.
Let me.
And so,
What if?
do the
Now
hobbits
hear me out.
agree
What
to
if
join before
big?
or after the rest of them?
That's
say-
too big. I think
because
100
know
was fine.
that, like
Sucrose is
I like the
adorable
moment
and really strong
where,
gameplay wise. Yeah, I wanted her
Fox is
so
like,
bad.
"You'll have my bow." And then the game is
I'm
like,
kind of thinking of
"And
making
my
myself
axe."
a VRoid outfit
Yeah.
for her.
So that's the hobbits show up after all of that, after the fellowship is officially made. In that moment where Frodo interjects the crowd, you know, the crowd is like kind of going wild. People are arguing about like
Mhm.
Gimli. You can hear Gimli saying like, "No one trusts an elf," and you know, you have stuff like that. It's pretty clear that there is no one willing
Ooh.
to make the sacrifice,
Ooh.
or perhaps it's too everyone's will to do whatever they want to do with the ring is self-serving,
Yeah.
and or based on some prejudice against another race. But when, you know, the lowliest, the weakest of everyone at the council chimes in, who has no skin in the game whatsoever, Frodo is literally just he's a hobbit, you know. He's just the guy who ferried the ring
Yay!
over to these people. When he shows his,
Welcome back.
willingness to do what he does, it's just one of the most heartwarming moments in the film, because you could see it in Gandalf's face. His heart
This model
breaks
has a weird
'cause he
thing
knows
about
what
it where
he
like the
has.
chest dips
Yeah.
in,
Like
like
see
right
it in his
here, and I
face.
don't know why it does that,
Gan-
and I don't
Gandalf
like it,
Understands
and I don't know how to get rid of it.
the like that the journey is not going to be an easy one. That it's going to be.
Why's your chest
very
sink into
hard.
your body,
Yeah.
man?
But he knows.
Looks
I
broken.
think deep down, especially after talking to Elrond, and Elrond was like, you know, the Hobbit shows a remarkable
Oh,
resilience.
those
to
are
it.
boobs. That
He
didn't
knows
help.
deep down Frodo is the one who needs to
I
take
don't know
it.
if my friend would mind.
Yeah.
And you can tell, like,
Oh, that's
The
worse.
confirmation wasn't. It still wasn't easy for him.
no, and he like.
No,
closes
I
his
don't want
eyes,
that.
like,
I don't want
"Oh,
that.
please, no,"
I don't want
and turns
them
around and sees
PS2
Frodo, you know, saying, like, "I will
graphic
take the ring again,"
boobs.
And
It's not
I
the
will-
vibe.
But I don't.
You've
know
noticed that in
yet.
VRoids,
And
some
Gandalf
outfits
is
just
like,
dip in.
"Well,
Yeah, I
Frodo's
don't know what that
going to-
is.
I will help you there.
But I've
And
made
then,
other
you
like
have the
male
classic,
model
like,
outfits, and they
"You have
don't
my
do that. See,
sword, my
like
bow,
if you do
my
like a
axe,
little
and
negative one on the chest prominence,
we're
like
coming too."
it stops doing that a little bit. But
I
like
know.
that's
then,
so much. Such a
what's
weird
it?
little
I think
dip.
Elrond just,
Let's
kinda
not
looking
do
at
that,
them
maybe.
with disgust
You
a
know,
little
let's
bit.
maybe not do
Yeah,
that
for
because
sure.
that's
I think
weird.
the last thing that we should talk about before we close up our discussion here is, well, first of all, how cool it was when Gandalf.
He kinda looks like a
started,
wizard.
speaking
The Harry
Black
Potter guy.
speech at that scene, just to like scare everyone out of
Yeah.
their skins, basically.
Okay, does it look
That's something that's
weird
strictly
if
in
you're
the
like a
second
negative one?
edition,
No, see,
and
look, I just fixed
I
this
think it's
man's
just
chest.
such a
You're welcome,
memorable
this
moment.
man.
Like, I wish
It's like
that
that
were
just
in the
looked
movie theater,
wrong to
but
have that
I
dip
understand.
there.
I know.
It-
Yeah, and
Like-
it threw like everybody off.
That just looked so
Yeah.
wrong.
And Elrond's like,
Fixed
never has the
it!
black speech of Mordor been uttered in this part of the world, and I was like, well, you know, if something doesn't happen soon, it'll be it'll be spoken everywhere. Or I think Gandalf actually says that. But the scene where Boromir shows up and he sees the blade that was broken by Isildur.
Oh,
Isildur.
Yeah. Narcissus?
The blade of... Yeah, let me look that up really quick.
Because I think
I feel like
that,
it'd be better if I
one
made
of the
this
three
cape out of
forges
hair,
called, Anduin or
but
something.
I'm
Narsil.
I don't know if I-
N-A-R-S-I-L, so you're
Narsil.
right.
I'm
Yeah,
nervous about that. Which
Narsil,
hair?
and then
What do I have to
you-
work
and
with?
then they, like it has a different name when it's reforged.
You definitely have a
but
front,
yeah.
a back.
Anduril is the name that they reforge it to.
Right, yeah.
You have
Another
an
close but no cigar.
extension.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have
you're-
sides.
you're
I feel
right
like you
on the money
don't.
there,
I
but
probably could use the
no cigar.
sides to make a
So
cape.
I love that scene because it's just, it goes to show, it's almost like
Or maybe the extras?
he knows, Aragorn that is.
I'm not
he
sure
knows
which
that that's
hair
his
assets
birthright.
this model is already
He
using.
knows that, you know, eventually he may be called to take up the call and use the blade in some way. You know, because they do tell him it can be
But could I make a
reforged and
cape
stuff.
out of hair?
But he
Probably.
doesn't want to take up that.
Should I
He
try?
doesn't want to be king of Gondor. He has no
Maybe, but then it'll be
aspirations of
really
that.
hard to
And
color.
when
I
Boromir
don't
grabs
know.
it and just kind of like shows it such disrespect,
Or it
even
would
though
be
it's, like,
easier.
respect at first, and then like he kind of like dismisses it as just some relic.
That's the one
he
thing
has
in
such
VRoid I'm
care
just
for-
really not proficient
almost
in
a
at
piece of
all
himself,
right now
you
is
know?
like
Yeah.
It's
hair,
interesting.
making
It's-
hair.
It's an interesting
Can't do it.
moment.
It's hard.
I'm gonna rewatch it before we.
It scares
you know,
me.
go into our next podcast next week, just because it's such an interesting little parallel between that and what happens in.
So can I
Return.
get
Yeah,
away
I
with
agree.
this?
All right, so for the first time ever in Project Geekology history, so this episode is going to kick off our series on Lord of the Rings. So for the next handful of weeks, we're going to be covering nothing but Lord of the Rings. Obviously, we're going to talk a little bit of off-topic stuff that we usually do beforehand, but we're going to be covering part 2
So
of
I
Fellowship of the Ring next week, and then the following 2 weeks after
am
that we're going to be
suspicious.
covering the Two Towers.
You look at the hair
And
editor
the
and
2
just
weeks
nope
after
out.
that, we're going
Change
to
the
be
color. That's
covering
it.
The Return of the King. So that's going to
I mean,
be
I've
our
done
Lord of
some
the Rings
hair
series.
stuff.
This is something new for us. I know that other podcasts have
It's
done
not
it, but
bad.
Lord of the Rings, both Dakota and I
need
love this
to
series.
invisible this
So
for
I
a second
think
though.
that digging
I need to
into
see
it
something.
and, covering it in a series will do this
So
trilogy
how?
justice.
I totally agree, and I'm excited about it because this is something that like.
How this one?
I feel like if we derail the conversation by a couple weeks or a couple months, like to do Two Towers or whatever, we may miss some
so
of the narrative threads that
confusion.
we started in like this podcast or our next podcast, you know. So I think if we do it 6 episodes in a row, just cover half of each film, we'll be able to come up with like a really
Somebody
good product.
literally
So thank you guys so
made
much for listening to us here
this.
at Project Geekology for our 28th episode, the first of our 6-part discussion of the fantastic Lord of the Rings.
Time to play the next
Next
episode.
week, Anthony and I will be jumping into part 2 of the Fellowship of the Ring, so be sure not to miss out on our discussion.
Ta-da! Okay, part 2.
The year 3434 of the Second Age. Here follows the account of Dakota, the High King of Geekoutique, and Anthony, Grand
Hold on, I'm
Steward
trying
of
to
the
figure out
podcast,
how
at the finding of Project
they did
Geekology.
this.
It has come to us.
I mean, I think it's
the
actually
one
really
podcast.
obvious what they did here.
It shall be an
That's
heirloom of our content. All those who
that's not
follow
that
in our
bad.
discussions
That's,
shall be bound to its fate.
I'm
For we
already
shall
I'm already
risk
on
no
it.
hurts to the
I'm
podcast.
doing it.
It is
It's
precious
fine.
to us, though we record it with much of our free time. Welcome.
to Project Geekology. And today, we're going to be covering The Fellowship of the Ring, Part 2, specifically the second half of The
Hold on,
Fellowship
I'll
of the Ring.
I'll bring it back
My
in a
name
second.
is
I'm just
Dakota, and I'm joined as always with
Anthony.
I'm just
yes,
looking.
Anthony. The, what should I call you? I called you the Grand Steward of the podcast. Congratulations.
You started having me laugh.
Um,
That quick transition at the beginning killed me.
Yeah, that's what you got to do. We gotta get used to those quick transitions because we end up stumbling. All right. Well, welcome to episode 29 of Project
Okay,
Geekology.
so let's put
As
this
you
back.
have, probably
I've
gathered
looked at
by
the
now,
secret
we're talking
things
about
in
Fellowship of the
my.
Ring. Last
Oops.
week for episode 28,
He naked.
we started
You don't
our
have no pants
6-part
on.
discussion of the Lord of the Rings.
Sorry,
trilogy,
I'm putting
discussing
shorts on.
The first half of the extended.
There's no
Fellowship of
naked
the
here
Ring,
anymore. Don't worry.
Movie. So
Those
this
were
is the
tights,
second
actually.
half
He was
of
wearing
Fellowship of the
socks.
Ring.
You just saw
Next week, we'll
lots
do
of.
the first
I'll
half
prove
of
it to
Two
you. Look,
Towers, and the second half of
he's
Two
wearing
Towers,
socks.
and
Oh
then
no, you
Return
can't
of
see
the
that
King
actually.
gets the
But these
final
are
2 weeks
socks.
of our
You just
6-part
saw
discussion. So I hope you guys are
the-
here for it. I hope you guys
the
actually,
whitey tighty
you know,
socks
comment
that
your
look like
thoughts
skin
on
color.
Either
It's
Twitter
fine.
or Instagram, wherever you follow us. But yeah, this is an interesting
Okay.
show because, well, for 2 reasons. This is the first time that we're actually committing to a series here on Project Geekology.
Oh.
Like we've done sequels to different topics that we've covered in the past. Like we've done Mandalorian twice, we've done Avatar: The Last Airbender twice, we've even done 2 different Star Wars episodes. But this is the first time that we're doing it on a weekly basis, and it's also the first episode ever that we're recording it in the early morning. Well, it's not really early morning. It's 10:42 as I'm looking at the computer now. But this is the first time we're doing our Project Ecology over coffee. Let's see how it goes.
I think it's actually would be a hoodie would be my best bet.
We're recording this.
I think I should do this as a hoodie.
You're probably listening to this.
Yeah. Before we begin, Anthony, what have you been up to this past week?
Well, I told you a little bit before recording that I've hopped onto this new gacha game. I have a sickness for the gacha.
Yeah, what is up with us?
The
and
gacha.
gachas? Like, why as like late 20-year-olds are we suddenly like just being like sucked into like mobile games that are just there to steal our money? What's going on with us? All right, tell me about this latest gacha game.
This one's called My Hero Academia Strongest Hero. It just came out this week. I had to hop onto it because I'm a huge My Hero Academia fan.
So crease or no crease? I think maybe I crease.
Smiles on me in this game because we all know that
gacha games are
really hard.
Yeah, gacha games are not built
Oh, but I can't make this thicker.
They're not built to be.
That is a problem.
Generally,
right?
Yeah.
Right.
So generally, it's the whales out there, the people who spend a lot of money into these games that actually become the most successful players. But
then
if you're there for the long term,
what is the good one to use?
Game, I think I have like 400 plus days into that game
for this.
So I have like most of the characters leveled up fully and everything. So I spend, if anything, very
that
very
is
little.
equally not
so
what I'm looking
can't
for.
Be called a whale, but with long,
I just thought of an outfit I want to make for myself in VRoid.
The people who put a lot of money into the game at the offset.
I am getting ideas.
You tend to grow a little more than that. But anyway, this isn't an episode about gacha. What else have you been up to?
I'm actually impressed that you actually knew the term whale for those like free to play games.
Oh yeah,
let's see.
Because I'm
what if I used a dress?
Specifically the Danmachi game, I've been called a whale before, but
I
don't spend any money on this. What are you talking about?
When somebody called you that, were you like, what? When you first heard that, were you like, what?
Yeah.
Why'd you call me a whale?
I mean, it's a term that
I just use a regular T-shirt.
Not just that. It's something. It's someone.
Please don't let me change the volume, and that is problematic to me.
So I've been getting into crypto recently.
Crypto.
You have the whales who are like dropping like $2 million on
crypto
or Ethereum or whatever.
I'm not interested in crypto.
Those are
have to say,
like whales in terms of.
I have to publicly say, crypto is not for me.
Right.
You have whales who own a lot of like shares of companies or stuff like that. So yeah, kind of it I don't know where it started. I'm assuming it must be the financial world, and then it kind of bled into video games and stuff. Because who else would have like hundreds of dollars to put into a movie other than people who are already whales?
I have a lot of questions.
Right, these YouTubers.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, so I've been playing that, and I have been. This is like a common thing that I say every week, but I've been playing Overwatch, but this time it's the anniversary event.
So it's different.
It's different because you get new skins, and then the thing I love about the anniversary event
the kimono.
is that it opens everything. So all the skins that you missed throughout the years, or in the other events, you can actually go and buy them, or you can get them in loot boxes. It's really cool. It's just the anniversary event that opens all the other events that you can get these other skins for. I'm
getting ideas. The ideas are flowing.
The Santa coat and hat.
Okay.
So get rid of that.
So there's a couple of skins because I have a lot of the in-game credits.
Erase everything except for the hood.
There's very little that I don't have, so I just get, whenever I get those, I get credits for duplicates.
Oh yeah.
And
I miss loot boxes.
So I built up to like 10,000 credits
Disc.
And so I was able to like buy some skin. You know, I bought a skin here, bought a skin there. Like
Yeah,
I
gotta get
I didn't
back
buy
into Overwatch.
everything.
I gotta get back into Overwatch, man. Especially
So-
Overwatch 2 is coming out, so.
something that I have
Good
noticed.
old podcast.
and they're
Bam.
Really sly about this. But Overwatch.
Hi,
has a
Josh. What? It's coming
couple
along
of
well.
Batman
I'm
themed skins.
trying. I'm just
Like,
trying to make
May has a
templates right
skin
now.
that she's
I'm trying to
a
avoid having to use hair assets
Oh, I don't
to
think
make
it's
this
sly.
cape,
think
but
they're
I think I
totally,
might.
like, hitting it on
Program
the
might
nose.
force my
They
hand.
just
There's a way to
released
do what I want to do,
Somber,
but I'm not sure how to
right?
do it
Yeah,
right
and
now.
then
So
There's one that's like a poison
I'm
ivy
a
skin.
little
Right,
stuck.
Moira is like is kind of like a
It's smaller.
poison ivy skin.
And then obviously.
Can I
you
make
have
the hood
Junkrat
even
Joker.
smaller?
Junkrat Joker, right. So
Yes,
they're
I
like,
can.
They're like sneaking them in there.
Kind
Yeah,
of.
They
I
just start
like that.
calling them that.
I like that. Anything else you've been up to? Any movies? Any shows?
I feel like I saw something, but I don't remember. Why do I like never remember these things?
Okay,
No,
let's
whenever I do
let's
something, I'm
see
just
if
gonna
this
like message you, and
works.
then if I don't remember, I'll just. If you don't remember, then I'll
You
look
gotta
back at the
take notes,
messages.
man, dude. You gotta put it. You gotta like start like a file in your notes application of like
I-
stuff that you're doing.
I did
Okay,
this.
did that
today.
erase the inside?
Possible. Was it possibly exciting to talk about in the podcast?
Yeah, right.
Enough about me. How about you? What have you been up to?
What have I been up to? So, okay, so the past week,
get rid of that.
My dad introduced us to a new Apple TV. Or
What
it was
did
like
that
an
even
Apple
get
Plu-
rid
Apple
of?
Plus, I think that's the name of the streaming service.
It's like Apple TV Plus or something
Yeah,
like that. Yeah.
There's a new show on there. It actually came out last year called Mythic Quest.
Oh yes, I watched the first season.
Actually, I do
It's
think I
based
want
on
to
a video
get
game
rid of that.
company, and it's made by one of the people from
and then-
It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, right?
Yeah, and
I
he's,
know, like, the
he's,
lead
he's the
guy.
main he's the main character. I forget the actual actors' names, but the
Yeah.
show's name is Ian.
Hi, Tiny. Someone is
And
speaking to me.
they
It doesn't
just
sound very
started
much
season
like a
2.
lemon.
And they
It's,
also did
it's
a
Audie.
quarantine episode.
Audie
that
gave me permission to
was
listen
kind of
to his
actually,
podcasts
like,
while
a
I
nice
do
episode.
art.
You know, it bridged.
Wasn't that
seasons 1 and
nice?
2
Wasn't that
really
thoughtful?
Oh,
well.
really?
This
Yeah.
entertainment brought
So,
to you
if you haven't
by
checked that out,
Project
I recommend it.
Geekology.
It's a little
We
more
appreciate-
on the mature side in terms of language and stuff.
We
but,
appreciate-
at times it's really heartfelt, you know, certain times, and it's also just kind of a fascinating look behind the curtain of a fictional like game studio and like what they have to deal with on a daily basis, and like the craziness that goes into making some of the games that we play, especially like MMORPGs like World of Warcraft or Elder Scrolls Online.
Am I
stuff
gonna
like
get
that.
away with
it's kind of
this?
like biting off of
Question
that
mark.
concept to make this game called Mythic Quest. So you know,
Right.
season 2, they're getting ready to launch their new expansion, Titan's Rift, and stuff like that. So I think it's pretty cool.
So I listened to a video game podcast called
I
Triple
don't
Click,
think I'm getting away with
and
this.
They all used to do a
Kinda?
podcast together called it's a Kotaku Split Screen. But
Nope.
since then, all of the people of that podcast they no longer work for Kotaku, so they have their own podcast that they made together. And a lot of the things that they would talk about is like video game companies and developers and stuff like.
I don't think I'm
crunch
getting
time.
away with
Some
this.
Are like way worse than others, and the thing that sucks is that it's like it's a dilemma, because it's like, do you want to support a company that oppresses their workers? But it's like, if you don't, then the people that put their hard work into this aren't going to get paid.
Yeah, it's
So
the same.
it's like it's
the
problematic.
same thing actually that happens in the anime community. You know, some of the most popular animes that we like watch and enjoy on a regular basis are just cranking out episodes, and you know, they get no sleep, they
Oh,
get no
boy.
time off, and it's kind of like a sweatshop for animation, and in terms of video games for like coding and getting the game
I bet it.
ready by certain deadlines and stuff.
Donk.
It's a crazy industry, and it's something that, you know, like, you're right, yeah, if you don't pay to buy these games or watch these animes, then you're not supporting the people who've put this hard work in, and they're going to potentially lose their jobs because nobody's playing the games or watching the shows that they're creating. And it's like, what do? You know, it's a dilemma. I think and I'm much smarter people than me will have to figure this out, like what to do with that. But either hire more people to like spread across more shifts, or figure out how to like unionize or something. I don't know.
Right. So that's actually a big talk in the gaming community is the workers unionizing, and
Oh boy.
like people are starting to advocate for it a little bit more. Yeah,
it was
man,
better
they
before, and
need some
I fricked it
protection.
up.
Some of these
Absolutely.
these people that they're working so hard and they get pennies on a dime.
Yeah.
Where the people that the heads of these companies, they're making all this money. I forgot what it was and what game, but there was the head of a company that promised bonuses on a game, and he kind of gypped these people out on their bonuses, and it was kind of wrong. So yeah, no, like if they need to unionize, then I'm for it, because who knows? I mean, maybe the stuff that we get is going to be a lot better than what we do get now, because it's kind of hard sometimes to put your heart into something if you don't have anything to back you up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
So yeah.
It's
Maybe
it's
we
an
just leave it
interesting,
like this right
topic,
now.
one that I'm sure is going to be talked about
Maybe that's
for many years to come.
we get
just
away
as,
with that for right now.
The quality of games starts to get
But
better.
then now
but,
what?
hopefully
Mini
the
T-shirt.
Right.
actual livelihood of the people creating the
make
games in
this
the back
bigger?
end also increases.
No, you cannot.
So we'll see.
They're going up to $70 now.
That's a no.
What do you mean?
With the next gen. It's not widespread now, but
Maybe
Like
it's-
actual like hard copies of games and stuff are going to
Body
cost
suit.
$70. Yeah.
Is that no?
What can
that's
I do
something that
with
I've
this?
also wondered. Like, in the past I've seen it broken down. Like this is why games cost $60, and it's the cost of production in terms of the cases and the
Oh look,
CDs
see, look,
and
I gave this man
printing
boobs.
the games onto the CDs.
See,
But
see how
nowadays,
there's
a lot of
boobs
people
now.
get games online and they're still
Right,
the same
digitally.
price.
Right.
Where is that money going
Uh,
to? Is it more?
Why can't you
are-
just
are you
not
giving
have
more to the
weird little
company
slits in your
by
chest
buying
without having
online,
boobs?
or does,
Like, why
say,
can't
the
that
PlayStation
be an
Store, the
option?
Xbox Store take
Why is it like
most of
boobs or
those
dents?
profits? Like, where does that go? I'm so confused about
Makes
that. So
no
I wanna
sense
hear
to
more
me.
about that. If
Right. And it might be because the companies that are hosting these games on their like marketplaces, they probably have to get some money themselves, and that might be the reasoning behind it.
What
Yeah, man.
the frick?
It's an interesting topic.
Yeah. All right. So jumping off of that, I've also been. It's interesting. It's actually
What
pretty
the
funny.
frick?
A couple weeks ago, Jen and I were like joking around, like this is gonna be a Star Wars summer. It was like the May 4th. We were watching Bad Batch and stuff.
Oh, nope, that was worth it.
We
I don't want the
ordered
dents.
some, Star Wars
want the dents.
Disney pins for like May 4th and stuff. So
Dang, did you need my address to send me one?
yeah, I did.
Why do the
actually.
male
That's
models
what I
have
needed.
dents?
Sorry, I forgot to ask. But we were
Dude.
joking because like past couple.
Okay,
summers,
anyway.
it's just kind of been a meme
I'm
that it's like a hot girl
nervous
summer, a
about
white boy
this.
summer, or this is a Star Wars summer for me and Jen. So we are. Well, I specifically am just this next year. I'm gonna go ahead and like reread all of the Star Wars books
Oh my gosh.
because
Holler.
I have a lot of time on like
Holler.
because I work construction.
I
So
barely
I'm by myself
know.
a lot, so I have hours to spend by myself listening to audiobooks. And I have most of the Star Wars books on audiobook anyway, and I've listened to them over the past 6 years or so. But I've forgotten a lot of them, so I want to go back and reread all the ones that I have read, and also listen to some that I haven't read.
no.
And one
Ooh,
that I
Sleep
haven't
Puff.
read that I just listened to recently
Sleep
was
Puff.
Claudia Gray's Leia, Princess
Fun.
of Alderaan.
Oh yeah.
Dude, what a good book. She understands Princess Leia so well. It's like a 16-year-old Leia, so it's just a little bit less mature of, the character that we know of, but like it's the story of how she got into the rebellion, how she discovered her
Ooh.
parents were involved in, potentially terrorist tactics against the Empire and stuff. And it's like how she comes to grip
This
with
is
everything.
fun,
and,
except for the
um,
chest.
Oh, wow.
And how the Empire
I
starts
don't know
to
why it's doing that, man.
like learn that Alderaan is behind a lot of the bigger players in the
Can we
rebellion, which is
flatten
ultimately
the
why they
pectorals,
destroy
please?
it in episode 4.
That
so
does not
it's
seem
such
like-
a good read.
Nope.
Let's be real. Claudia Gray is probably like my favorite Star Wars author. I mean,
Dude,
she's
Flatten the torso.
she-
Why are you
she
doing
just-
the opposite
she
of flat?
knows, like,
Oh, I
mean,
see.
she just
I see what's
understands.
happening.
She's like the Dave Filoni of like
What
the
the frick,
novel
man?
world.
what I love about Claudia Gray is that she has such a grasp on the characters' identities and their motivations.
I'm so
And
confused.
understands the
VRoid,
big
I don't
questions
understand what you're
that
doing.
have to happen for each of the films to occur. Like what needed to happen for
Why is there
the
these
Empire to
boobs
destroy
here?
Alderaan? What needed to happen, or what would happen if the galaxy at large learned
What
that
crack?
Senator Leia
Booty.
Organa, now in her 50s, and this is Bloodline, is the daughter of Lord Vader. Would she lose her political career? Blah blah blah. And Claudia Gray, she's written 5 Star
What a
Wars
fun
novels,
test we're running.
and I'm going through her second Leia book, Bloodline. Now that I finished Leia, Princess of Alderaan.
Oh, whoops.
And dude, she nails the character. She knows these characters in and out. She also did one. I think you've read it as well. The
Dark
Obi-Wan.
Disciple.
No,
Oh,
she
I read
didn't do Dark Disciple. That's Christy Golden.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's a good one too.
That's a great one.
Yeah.
Master and Apprentice.
Yeah, that one was great.
I mean, this
that's
looks
one
good,
where
but it's
Obi-Wan
not right.
And Qui-Gon are it's a much younger.
Coulda
Obi-Wan
been.
and Qui-Gon,
Coulda
and
been,
they're,
shoulda
like,
been.
Basically, getting to know each other as Master and Apprentice. So she understands these characters like through and through, and I wouldn't trust. And I think that's why like the Star Wars publishing trusts her so much, is because she understands the characters. So like most of the books in the Star Wars like book canon,
Like, you
or
know,
most of the
it's
books,
kinda,
rather,
but then
don't
also,
follow
like, it's
the main
not.
characters. But they've entrusted Claudia Gray now 3 times with their main characters, like Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon, and Leia. So most of the other books, they have these characters in them.
I just make this bodysuit
but they're not the focal
ginormous.
point. And I think the Star Wars publishing community, or the team over at Del Rey, understands that she just knows the characters. So yeah, I'm a big fan.
Yeah,
of her work.
but
We're
then
both big fans of her
that's
work, yeah.
not
So
great.
Master and Apprentice was essentially it was a Star Wars mystery book. And I love the I love the twist in that one.
Yeah, for sure. Such a good authors, great.
Yeah,
books.
she's great. Yeah,
Like-
she's great. She just knows how to knock it out of the park.
I think actually her High Republic book is on par with the Light of the Jedi that we read. She's very good at like just being in the world of Star Wars, and also it's super cool. She's bringing up stuff that she introduced in like books way down the line. In Bloodline, she's talking about these ancient warriors known as the Amaxines, and in the High Republic book, which takes place hundreds of years earlier, we learn more about those characters that she introduced, and it's like, wow, this is really cool. Like she's like drawing from her own Star Wars canon, and just developing
Smaller.
the actual canon even bigger. So I love what she's doing. I hope she continues. I think she's actually the most prolific author of the new canon. And the next one up would be Timothy Zahn with his Thrawn series, because I think he's written 4 or 5 books now.
So
I
good.
see.
So good. Jen started reading the Star Wars comics.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, she started with the Darth Vader series that started in 2015 alongside the Star Wars run, and she's loving that. I think I got her hooked because I had her listen to part of
I
the
am
Dr.
getting
Aphra
ideas.
drama that they came out with, and that
Can't
follows
use the
events of Darth
bodysuit
Vader
because that's
series.
way
So
too jank.
she
But I
started
am
reading
getting
that, so she enjoyed
ideas.
that.
That's awesome.
So that if not the bodysuit,
Last time on Lord of the Rings, Frieza destroys Namek. I mean, Sauron.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we were covering Lord of the Rings, not DBZ.
So last time on Lord of the Rings, we left our heroes just after the Council of Elrond, where they decided that it is time to form a single line and
Good.
walk the ring right down to Mordor.
Cray
We
cray.
haven't even left Rivendell.
Look at him,
yet,
he hiding.
and yeah, that's where we're starting our discussion
He
today.
hiding.
I love that first line as Frodo leaves Rivendell, where he's leaving the gates.
This ain't
and
it.
He goes,
Not this
Gandalf,
one.
is it left or right to Mordor? And Gandalf's like, left. And this is interesting, actually. I don't know if this was intentional or not, but I'm sure Tolkien knew this, or I don't even remember if this was in the novel or anything.
About
But
blouse.
it is interesting because
Oh,
left
this is a bodysuit
is
too.
is evil.
Nope.
In like historically, left is historically evil, and right. I'm not talking politically. That's a different story. Right is historically very good. So
Male
if you go back
kimono.
in history, like people who were left-handed were considered evil people.
Terrible, terrible, evil
in-
people.
Are you
Those-
left-handed?
Those left-handers.
Yeah.
I knew it. In Latin, the word for left is sinister, which obviously that's where we get our word for sinister, and our word for right is their word for right was dexter. Or
I mean,
dexter,
yeah, but it's not because of the hand I
something
write with.
that's useful. So
Oh,
it's
sure,
kinda
sure.
cool, like,
Coincidence, you
historically,
say?
in
Sure,
paintings and stuff,
sure.
The left side was the evil
Sure,
side.
sure,
Yeah.
Tiny.
But it's interesting that Mordor, the evil place, is to the left. So that's where they head.
And to the left they shall go. I know after that there's like a
Man,
couple
this
of
is
scenes
hard.
of them, just like making their trek.
Man.
I think they go to head into the mountains.
Like, I'm
right?
making
Is there
progress,
something
but
that
it's
happens
not
before
great.
that?
Not really.
Okay.
Yeah. And now we see a montage of them walking through the wilderness of New
Are you
Zealand,
actually left-handed, Tiny?
climbing mountains. And
I keep
in
finding
slow
out more and
motion,
more
with powerful
people in my
music
life who are
playing the
left-handed that I
Fellowship
like
theme
did not even
finally
know
is,
were
like,
left-handed.
triumphant.
Just like, oh damn.
Dun, 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 dun,
You're
dun, dun,
left-handed?
dun, dun, dun.
Over and
you know,
over
you
again.
have everyone like walking in front of the camera, like, and it's pretty epic actually when you think about it.
It sounds hilarious now, but when you're actually watching it, it's awesome.
Yeah,
But
it's
yeah.
super. It's a very like triumphant is the right word. Like it's the triumph of the movie finally getting its like major players together, and they're all like in this together. Obviously, we know that very shortly the Fellowship will
Boom.
crumble, but it's cool while it lasts.
Boom.
I know that there's at a certain point where they have to make a decision to either go through the mines of Moria or what was the alternative? I forgot.
Over the mountains.
All right, so
Through the
they
mines
had
or over the
3
mountains. They
paths.
tried
I
over the
forget
mountains.
Which is the first path that they take? They're going. I think they're going the straight path basically at first, and that's when they realize that Saruman spies the crows. What are they called? The Caribim or something like that.
Ooh.
They
From Dunmarrow or Dunarrow or something like that.
Caribai from Dunland. That's what it was.
Dunland,
That's
yeah,
shoulder
they-
puff. It does.
And they realize they can't follow this road, so they have 2 options. They can go over the mountain through the pass of Caradhras, and they have to go up the highest
Sleeve
peak
width.
of Middle Earth, which is Caradhras, I think.
Oh, cute.
And that's one way that they can go.
Not what I'm trying to
pass
make,
over the
but it
mountain
is
range.
cute.
Or they can go under the mountain range. Either way, they have to pass the mountain range, and go through the mines of
Right.
Moria.
Right. I think they initially tried to go through the pass, but then Saruman
Okay, so shoulder puff is a
like,
no.
he's essentially harassing them.
Yeah.
And so remember like that bolt of lightning that hits the mountain and it like causes an avalanche.
Yeah, I would have taken that up with HR. Like, what the heck, Saruman? Yeah, so they are going up the mountain. It's like a clear blizzard, and we realize that Saruman is actually like making the trek way more difficult than it needs to be, and it's already a difficult trek. And like the poor hobbits are like, like waist deep in
Poof
snow.
flare.
And meanwhile, like Legolas is just walking on top of it. Like, come on, just walk on top. Like, how is he so light-footed? I know it's like their race and like the magic that they have.
Yeah, so they give Frodo the option, or they ask.
Oh,
for,
hello.
Frodo
Oh, hi, Kevin. Gotta pause my podcast again.
Yeah,
Just
I
podcast.
think-
How was Endless Zone 0? Signs of a raid! Oh, hi, Bizarre. Welcome in as well. welcome back, Balzan. Hello. Kevin, I'm doing art. I'm trying to make a VRoid. What are you guys up to? Are you raiding and running, Kevin? You get some din. What you're Arden? Trying to make an outfit, but I'm struggling. I'm straggling. That's okay. Hey, in ZZZ, do you have Jane Doe? Perchance? That's rough, buddy! Oh my goodness. Do you have a Jane Doe, perchance? You don't have her? Bale's shaking his head. How could you not have my woman? This is terrible news, Kevin. Terrible news. You was spent on her? Who's your favorite? No, wait a minute, Kevin. Who's your favorite? Who's your bias? Which character? I bet you like the dude, the robot dude with the white hair. I bet that guy's your favorite. Am I right? No. Yeah! I'm right! No way. No way. Not quite great for real. I like him too, though. He's kind of cool. I still haven't played ZZZ, but you're totally not impartial to okay, listen. I need to hear these names said before I can pronounce them correctly. Zhu Yuan. I don't know who that is. I'm unfamiliar with that character. But if Kevin likes him, it's probably great. Oh, that's Zhu? The police-looking lady?
She's the police.
Oh,
Public
okay.
security.
Oh, public security. Okay. Very nice, Kevin. Very nice. Police! Stop, police! I don't know, my guy. That seems kind of generic to me. That's that the police girl. The police girl is too tropey to me. That's like, I don't know. I like Caesar. Caesar's pretty. But yeah, I don't play it, so don't listen to me. I'm just a goofy little guy doing my goofy little art. Trying to make a goofy little cloak. Working my goofiest right now. Is the last art thing that you did, Kevin, making the bamboos? Whatever they're called. What are they called?
Bamboo?
The bamboos? Yeah. Is that the last art thing you did, Kevin? It's fine. Her qualities are a bit more rear-ended. Listen, we all know I like the booties. Are you saying Police Girl got that ass? Got that ass? Honey, do Police Girl got that ass? Okay, but what about, no, Jane's ass is, I disagree. I think, objectively speaking, Jane has the best ass. Having never played the game and exclusively seen jiggle reels on Twitter, I'm gonna say Jane has the best booty. Clearly it's Billy! I don't even, okay. Well, okay, fine. He slaps his ass though, that doesn't count. His ass don't jiggle when he walks. You gotta go psh, smack it and then it jiggle. That's effort, okay? Jane's booty be bootying, just standing there bootying. So, But yeah, welcome in. Billy do have buns of steel, but yeah, buns of steel don't jiggle. Buns of steel are, you know, solid. There's no jiggle to the buns of steel.
These are literally
That's
made out
not
of steel.
what we want.
These are literally made out of steel.
We want the flesh booty with the cute little tail. That's what we want. That's what we want over here. That's who we stand. That's what we want. That's who we stand. I made up my mind. So there. But yeah. Sounds like you had a good time. Sounds like you had a pretty good little time with your little game. With your little silly booty game tonight. Fight me! Wow. Both of you to come into my space and challenge me in my domain expansion. Do you forget my infinity of boxes? You have made a terrible mistake. Sir, I think you're forgetting what cats typically like to do to wood, okay? I'm pretty sure this is a scissors beats paper situation. I don't think you would win. Peaceful Cold, he wants his brand back. I know, look at this. Look at my boxes. Look at this. He's probably in there somewhere. He's probably buried back there. I haven't seen him in a while. Gotta go check the back. Fight, fight, fight. Listen. Listen! Try to make a cape, okay? Okay, you're either with me or you're against me! And it sounds like you're against me. I don't go live for the slander! I'm being slandered! Wow! I'm betting on lemon? Oh, okay, good. Well, at least there's that. You want the manager to check out back for box? It's like the Walmart meme where a guy just like goes and stands in the back and then comes back out and is like, sorry, we don't have just like doesn't look. Sorry, I can't hear all these ads. Good. Oh. I think I'm winning this fight right now. I'm feeling pretty confident about that. I'm winning. I'm winning. I like how we both have that little versus badge too. Like we're actually fighting. xCheekyLemonx versus Postmortem Killer. You know, we both got that little super ultra combo. I forget how I got that even. You're sure whatever you said has as much weight as those boxes? No, there's lots of stuff in these boxes. These boxes have all of my stream set up. You know, they were heavy, okay? And someday I will be moving them to the appropriate location for my actual re-debut. But for now, I'm tired and I just want to do art. So it's boxed up. It's heavy. Actually, wait a minute. Watch this. Watch this. I'm so cool right now. Watch this. It's nighttime now. Look at the ambiance. Look at the ambiance we have going on back here. Ah. You guys still haven't suggested any names for my teddy bear though. You guys were supposed to name him and my cactus. You guys have not named my teddy bear or my cactus yet. I'm still waiting. Tiny waiting for the lemon to bust out Tekken and chain a bunch of electric wind god fists straight into Kevin. Okay, I don't play that though. I don't know. I only vaguely know what you're talking about. I'm gonna keep it on the down low though. It's nighttime now. You parry! Okay, you gotta have perfect timing though. Otherwise you cooked. You're cooked, man. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to finish this cape, like tonight or in general. This is just like not working, I feel. Unfortunately. Are you more of an anime fighter then? The only fighting game I've played is some derivative of Naruto, like Naruto Ninja Storm 4 or something. That's the only fighting game I've played. And it's only because my stepbrother had it when I was a little kid and we were like, can we play? And then I played that. Oh no! Where's Cooney? Cooney would be proud of me. Cooney! Have my back on this one. I played Itachi. You should have my back even more now. I was good at it too. I wasn't good at it. That's a lie. That's a flat out lie. He plays ZZZ. His timing is pretty good. Nah. Nah. Okay, I need to make a cape. Everybody shut up. I got 5 minutes. And I wanted to listen to Lord of the Rings. I don't know. We'll listen to the rest of the podcast some other time. If you're interested in checking out the podcast we've been listening to during this stream, please go check out Project Geekology. You know, Audie is a wonderful community member, and they do interesting podcasts on a semi-regular basis. It's good stuff. We're like a half hour into this second one. There's a whole Lord of the Rings series, if you are interested, that you could peruse. But I ain't telling you what to do or nothing. I just suggesting with a knife. Okay. I don't know, Mung. Mung doll! Hey, do I crease the sleeves? What do you think? Sleeve crease? Nah, Venti's sleeves are pretty uncreased, if you ask me. They're pretty uncreased sleeves, if you ask me. Where's the, oops. Where's the, But yeah, you managed to get the Caesar salad. Oh, yay! There's even a date? Oh my goodness! Tell me more. The part of the game I care about. Romancing the ladies! Romancing the stone. The stone. The stone! Booba! I know we've talked about that on this stream before, and I don't think people appreciate Booba. Okay, shoulder. Get out of here. I'm just not feeling it, Mr. Krabs. Not feeling it, Mr. Krabs. Mr. Krabs, I'm not feeling it. Are you feeling it now, Mr. Krabs? Oh, I'm feeling this. Forgot to ask if you got her weapon too. Ooh. Not yet. You're probably gonna try and use residual for those. My guys. Okay, I'm tapping out. I don't know what you're talking about anymore. Speak amongst yourselves. Talk about the sleepy game. I just care about the booties. That's why I can't play these games, because I don't actually want to play the game. I just want to play the women, you know? That's that's the only thing I'm interested in. I should do more dating sims. I don't like dating sims, though, because there's right and wrong answers. Too much pressure. No, thank you. So yeah, apparently she's really into romantic comedies. You don't say! Was Caesar like the actual dude into comedies? You know, like plays? Did Caesar? Do we know that? Did Caesar like comedies? I wonder. Do you remember the 21st night? It passed by so fast. Only ones with a tragic end. Well, then it's not a comedy. That's a tragedy. Get right! Anyway. Boop. Let's try again. Starting afresh. Do, 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 do. Yo, yo, bro. This is another bodysuit. Get the frick out of here, bodysuits. You lied to me. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, yeah. Oh, we're good. We good, fam. We good. We Gucci. We fettuccine. Tortellini. Pacini. Pacheco. Okay, get out of here. Okay. Hypothetically speaking. Mom spaghetti. Yeah, exactly. You know. You're speaking my language. You're picking up what I'm putting down. Yeah. What's going on? Bing, bing. Green bean, green bean, bang, bang, green beans. Speaking of, you have some in the fridge you should microwave. Mom spaghetti? You got mom spaghetti in the fridge? Copy. Copy. Food time. Have good art, Lem. Thanks. I gotta wrap it up. Wrap it up! Why'd Pixie have to pick, like, the hardest? I mean, I did suggest it, so, you know, I guess that's on me. But I should have just... Pixie's idea was so much better. But, you know what? A deal's a deal. Okay. I'm gonna overwrite that. What the huh? What? And all this time, I didn't realize. Go back. Are you kidding me, Mon? What was that? What was that? Are you so for real right now? Okay, lock that. Locked and loaded, brothers. Oh, that's the wrong thing. Stop it. Nope. Multiply. Yeah, this has a little... I don't want the little thing. Can't believe it. Yeah. Everything's wrong. The stress of my modern office has caused me to go into a depression. Also, Dwight is an ignorant slut. Okay. No saving. Can't believe it, you guys. I just cannot believe it, you guys. Okay, time to save this. And just to remind y'all of where we're at and where we're headed. This is the plan. So, what have I achieved? I made a vest template. I kind of finished the shirt template. I started the necktie. Kind of got a shawl going. I mean, it's a work in progress that is slowly progressing. It'll look better when there's color on it. That'll really hide a lot of the flaws, I feel. But yeah, I think that's where we got to tonight. That's the long and the short of it. That's the long and the short of it, my dudes. Okay, so let's close this right up. Get out of here. Let's go back here. Ta-da! Thankies for hanging out with me. Oop. Thankies for hanging out with me tonight while I did the arts and crafts. I feel like we had... Oops, I had to keep doing this. I feel like we had a good time. You know, it was a fun little time. But all goofy guys must eventually go to bed. So, let's find you all a good place to be for the duration. You know? Let's find you all a good place to be for the duration. Oh! How long have you been live? There's a couple people who are streaming art right now. I kind of feel like I want to take you to an actual art stream. Like someone who knows what they're doing. Because I'm a fake art streamer. This is not... The profession ain't professional over here. Man, so many people are live. Oh, speaking of Box. He's alive, everyone! Actually, let's raid Box. We were talking about Box. Let's raid Box! I found him, you guys! Don't worry, I found him! He was in our hearts all along. Okay, I'm gonna set up a raid to Box. Go say hi. Ba-da-ba. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-ba-da-bum. Yeah! Time to say hi to my buddy. The peaceful guy. Okay, if you're coming on the raid, you can grab this raid message that I stuck the new Twitch global emote in. Haha, because it's silly. And then I'm live again on Sunday for our regular Final Fantasy get-together. It'll be a good time. Thank you guys for humoring me for my art streams. I like doing something a little bit different every once in a while. And yeah, I'll see you later. I'm pretty active on my socials. That is Twitter and Discord. If you ever need to find me, I am probably xCheekyLemonx on said platform. And if you were here today, I appreciate you a lot. Hope you have a really good rest of your evening, and I will see you later. Bye!